Hello everybody and welcome into our latest live broadcast. Today is the 2nd
September
2022. My name is Kerry Holzman.
I'm Mitch Morrison.
And today, thank you for joining us for part 3 of the Lian Li Train PC. It's been a long history of this computer on this channel. Back when I first bought the case, I wanted to do something different. And they also had a yacht. They made a yacht.
Okay.
Couldn't get that one in time. They sell out pretty quick. They're limited editions. They're not good for airflow, or it's just really all about having a cool looking case. You don't want to be overclocking in this. And we did a build in it, and then it got set aside, and then those parts got really old, or they were getting old, and I ended up gutting it to use the parts in something else.
Okay.
And when I gutted it, I'd left the original power supply in it, and I left the slim DVD drive in it until I had a machine that needed it. I think it was a laptop.
Okay.
So I took it out of here. Nobody's using DVDs anymore, and I just thought, you know what, let's just put the blocker back in there, and if they want to add USB, they can plug it into, if they want to add DVD or Blu-ray, they can plug it into the side, because I'm concerned when I ship this, it needs adapters on these slimline DVD drives, that it could come loose, and that's really difficult to fix if the recipient gets this machine and they're in Scotland. Best if we don't have it in there for that main reason. But then we found out the power supply that I had only had a 4-pin CPU power cable. This requires 8-pin on the board. So went online, and we've got the EVGA 550, and I've updated all the parts lists in the video notes of this video, and I've removed the optical drive and adapter since we're not going to use that. And let's see, Patrick says the image is a little dark today. All right, someone's fiddled with the video settings again. Yeah, we're experimenting some more, still trying to dial it in. Yeah. Now, we had the image a little brighter, but it was we had a debate over if it was too dark or too bright.
How's our sound, Chad? Can I get a 5x5? Are we coming through? You always say Mitch is louder. That's because of my beautiful baritone voice. No, I don't know. Tenor voice, I guess.
So let me dial up the video gain.
Okay.
What do people think of that? Are we? Do you think the video brightness is improved? Or is it now too washed out? When we make it brighter, we lose some of the effect of the color, right? This color starts to get a little faded. So, sound is beautiful, says OG Gaming. Right on. Sound is great. Patrick Rusaw. Sound is equal and clear from Luke Greenia. Thanks for the update. Okay. Planet Kraus just contributed $10. Says, hello, Kerry and Mitch. Birthday, it's tomorrow, but celebrating it tonight with family. We'll be watching for about an hour, but wish you a good live stream. Well, happy birthday to Planet Cryos. And Peter Laycock's birthday was the 29th, so of course, happy birthday to Peter Laycock. Frankie B contributes $19.99 here in Super Chat. Says, good to see you all, and Kerry and Mitch, let's have a good stream. Ready, set, go. Right on, Frankie. Thank you as always for your generosity. Ray Starman contributed $10, says all aboard, the train is departing. And of course, our good friend Peter Laycock, for whom we are building this machine for his, I think it's his nephew now. Not his son or his grandson. It's for his nephew, or is it his great nephew? I think it's just his nephew.
Okay.
Sorry, Peter. It goes in one ear and out the other. Peter contributes 20 pounds in Super Chat and also sent an Amazon gift card this morning. Very generous, Peter. He says, good evening, Kerry and Mitch and everyone in the chat from Edinburgh, Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 18 degrees Celsius. Do you have any idea how hot it is here in Phoenix? Google it.
Yeah.
Alexa, what's the temperature in Phoenix, Arizona? All right.
Now you made everybody's Alexa go on.
That's why I did that.
Okay.
So they don't have to ask.
Okay.
We've got the chat open only for moderators and members so that everybody can watch the live stream.
Okay.
But we have a problem with bots and the people who are miserable, and the only way they're happy is if they make other people miserable. So I'm not letting them spread that bad attitude. It's very contagious, unless they want to pay money to spread that bad attitude. It's so much easier if you just find a way to make yourself happy rather than trying to make everyone around you miserable. So when we lock it out like this, it still allows everybody to watch us live. But what it does is it prevents the distraction of people who are starved for attention. So that's the way we're doing it from this point forward, unless I'm in a certain mood where I'm ready to take some abuse. But it's a benefit of membership. It's $9.99 a month. Down by the subscribe button, you should see a join button. And it's a great way to show your support for the channel, so I'm not over here pitching products from sponsors all the time, because most of the big tech, all of the big tech channels are basically making commercials for companies. Mine is a little different in that I'm a working computer tech. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I want to only recommend parts that I would actually recommend to my customers, that I would support. And if I can work a sponsorship out with those companies, that's wonderful. But it's only been like 3 companies so far: Acronis, Roboform, the Windows license keys. There's a 4th one. The My Computer Works folks. It's a very fine filter that companies have to go through for me to accept sponsorship from them. And then there's other companies like Levi's or Coca-Cola that I would love to have as a sponsor because they got big pockets, or even Logitech or Intel or AMD. I don't think AMD would be too happy though. But I will say this, lots of news going on in tech. PCIe Gen 5. So you're going to have Generation 5 NVMe's.
And AMD had big announcements.
Yeah, AMD's new chips coming out. And they'll be Gen 5 before Intel's. Same with the Gen 4. The Gen 5 NVMe drives are going to put you to shame. Every time they double. So if we were getting 3,500 out of Gen 3, that means a maximum of about 7,000 on Gen 4. What do you suppose the maximum on Gen 5 is going to be? Just double that 7. So about 12 to 14, I would guess, on your sequential read speeds. But that just really relates for most people in milliseconds of difference. So I don't get too hung up on the numbers, folks. And you're going to pay good money for it. I was a little upset because I ordered the Western Digital SN850, which is a really fast Gen 4 drive. And I ordered it from Amazon, and I wasn't paying close enough attention, and I ended up ordering it from a third-party seller. And I don't know what I was thinking, but that drive was about $750. Now, if it was an 8 terabyte drive, that'd be a good price. So someone reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, that drive's $550, and they sent me a picture of the screen of the drive listed at $550. And I was like, would you tell me who the retailer is, or because they didn't say where.
Right.
Well, from Western Digital directly. So it's $200 cheaper. So I'm like, I haven't even taken that one out of the box. It's going to go on the 12th Gen Z690 build that I'm slowly acquiring parts for. And that's going to be a channel build. And I'm just collecting, you know, the motherboard was on sale, I bought it. The 12900K is still $570. It's too much money. I want that to be at the $500. So anyway, I thought I'll get this 4 terabyte super fast Western Digital drive. The PC World said it was face meltingly fast. I don't know what I was thinking. $700 and something dollars. That's way too much money for a 4 terabyte NVMe drive. $600 maybe. Anyway, I think the retail on it was $599 or something. Needless to say, I went ahead and ordered it from Western Digital, went to do the return on Amazon, and that's when I discovered I didn't have that easy return thing where you just take it over to Whole Foods or UPS store. This one, you had to repackage it, and the company could charge a restocking fee if you've opened it. All these rules and stipulations, but they did agree to take it back. It's factory sealed, and I should be getting every penny I spent back as a credit on my Amazon account. I'm so mad at myself, but appreciate the heads up. This has been a very busy week for me. This is the 12th computer we've had on this bench this week. So that's how crazy things have been. The good news is we're going to have 4 veteran giveaways that are machines I built in 2015, which are i7 4790K with an Z97 HD3 gigabyte motherboard with a 250 gig 2.5-inch SATA drive. These don't have M.2. This was like the next generation introduced M.2. And then, well, let me rephrase. There were some Z97s that had ended, not these though. And I built these on camera back in 2015. They just need a little dusting, a fresh install of Windows 10 Professional, activated and optimized. And we'll select disabled American veterans or community members in need. But it is for the viewer that when we do these giveaways, you can't do it for somebody else. You can't do it for your dad. You can't do it for your friend. They have to be a part of our community. So in other words, if you were to enter it, it's for you. Now, if you give it away to somebody, that's your choice. But once you win one time, you are not
qualified to win.
Yeah, because we want everybody to have a chance to win. I used to go to this computer club meeting, and they'd give you a little ticket stub with a number on it when you walked in the door. Everybody got one. And you could buy additional ticket stubs to help support the computer club. Well, this guy would buy like 40 ticket stubs, right? And what do you know? They'd have all the ticket stubs in a bowl, and they pull numbers, and it's that guy. It's that guy again. It's that guy again. It's that guy again. And it just was like...
not fair. You know?
Yeah, well, in a way it's fair. I mean, he's supporting the computer club. And the stuff the computer club was giving away was stuff companies had sent to them for, hey, talk to your computer club about Acronis or, stuff like that. And they give away a couple copies. Speaking of which, new Acronis version is out if you are a subscriber.
That's right.
It's not just a new build, it's a whole new version. So you get that at no additional cost as a subscriber to Acronis. The AMD chipset notifier that I sell, the Uncle Carrie's AMD chipset notifier, had a little bug in it for some people that I wasn't aware of. But Nick over at D7X Tech, I conceptualize and quality control and test the app. Nick over at D7X Tech writes the app. And since that app has been out, there have been 7 AMD chipset driver updates. So anybody who's downloaded it has received the benefit of that as much as 7 times. But there was a little bug where it would download. You'd say, oh, there's a new version, you want to grab it? And you say, yeah, and then it wouldn't extract it properly. And it was a permissions issue. That's all solved. And when you run Uncle Carrie's AMD chipset notifier, it should tell you automatically a new update is available. You shouldn't have to go look for it. It should just auto update itself. I encourage you all to update it, and then all the bugs should be worked out. If anybody has any problems with it, reach out to service@d7xtech.com, and they will work. I don't have any. I don't have any inside information on the programming, the language, the development. So if there's any issues, please reach out to them. That's how this issue was finally able to get resolved, is at least one of you reached out and worked with Nick, because it wasn't affecting everybody. And so Nick was able to make some changes and say, try it now. And between the two of them, they got it worked out. Then Nick sent me an email, because I didn't even know this was going on. But also a thank you to Mitchell. I'm never quite sure how to.
That's me. All right.
This is a different Mitchell.
Okay.
I'll show you. He sent
with one L or 2 L's.
Hey, a $50 Amazon gift card comes in from our good friend Kelly Stewart. Thank you, Kelly. Hey, this is M-I-T-C-H-E-L.
1 L. Yeah.
How would you pronounce that? Gantaus?
Gantaus, yeah.
Sent $25 via PayPal just before the stream. Thank you so much, Mitchell.
You're welcome. Oh, that Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, wait for your, you'll get your own thank you at the end.
I don't go by Mitchell, only Mitch.
Unless you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Mitchell. And $10 came in from Mary Bagdakian. Says, hope all is well. Great YouTube channel. Enjoy an Arby's.
Ooh.
Yeah, I haven't had Arby's in a long time.
Beef and cheddar with a horsey sauce.
So that was yesterday. So thank you so much, everybody, for continuing to support the channel, so I don't have to make commercials to generate revenue, so I can just make advertisements for you. I want to keep this real. I want my content to be real tech work from a real technician building real computers that I have to support in real life. And it's different when you have to support them and they're not yours. So thanks to all of you who help keep this channel moving forward. Again, the last couple weeks I've been super busy with a lot of projects. And then I got vacation in about 2 weeks. So I'm going to try and do at least 2 videos a week. When I go out to Michigan, I'll, of course, make a video as time permits, just hanging out and saying hello. I'm not bringing any tools or work with me, but I'll share the beauty of the state and hopefully be able to at least have you relax in this beautiful environment that we'll be in virtually.
That we both grew up in. Mighty green country there. So, and you know, Carrie, today, for some reason, I'm feeling today, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk-bone underwear.
Is that how it feels?
Yeah, that's what I just
I mean, on purpose or
today? I don't know. A little off, but this build will certainly.
That was me last Friday. I was.
Okay.
I didn't
without
get
our sound. Yeah, sound for 12 minutes.
Well, first of all, I didn't get a good night's sleep, so I wasn't at my best. But as they say, the show must go on, and I always want to make sure I do that Friday at 1 o'clock show. I'm not sure what's going to happen while I'm on vacation, if I'll be able to pre-record something to release Friday at 1, but obviously it won't be live. I could air it live. I can air a pre-recorded video live.
But you should enjoy your vacation. Kind of decompress, declutter your mind, enjoy.
Yeah, but I also I don't want to abandon my audience.
Yeah.
I want them to know I'm thinking about them. I want to share my experiences with them. So this is a different camera. This is a Panasonic. So I've been in this studio investment mode, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. This is a $4,500 camera, and I found one on eBay used for $2,000. And I thought, it's a 5-year-old camera, but it only had 69 hours of use on it.
When you showed it to me, it looked virtually brand new. But so I mean, somebody took very good care of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I mentioned that he covered it in gaffer's tape when he bought it to keep it from getting marked up, but he didn't use it much. This came from Utah, and there's 3 camera manufacturers I'm most interested in: Canon, Sony, and Panasonic. Now, of these 3, so far, I can tell you that the Panasonic, the one we're using now, feels like a plastic child's toy. It feels very
plasticky. I mean, I was surprised, but the image, I mean.
But I wanted to see if people would notice the difference in the image quality and whether it was better or worse. I haven't given up on that Canon, far from it. That's my major investment camera. But what was happening is, because it's giving me so much to play with,
to dial in,
I can't leave it alone. Like I have to. This is why I don't like RGB on a computer. I'll spend 6 hours trying to get the colors the way I want them, and then I'll get bored of it and then want to change it. So with the Panasonic, all we've done here is set the white balance. Everything else is on auto, and I was just adjusting the gain to bring the picture brightness up.
Okay.
And we don't even have as many lights on in here now, so I'm actually quite impressed. If I turn the other lights on, you guys let me know if this is better or worse, because I don't think we need them anymore.
Little hot.
You think it's hot?
But I like it. I mean,
so normally these would be the lights.
Yeah.
Steve says he can't tell the difference. Yeah, again, some people are going to see very minor things. David Nation Sr. says it's the same. Glenn's Music says, oh my gosh, Mitch is there. Oh, see, we had him in the dark. Movement is more jerky. So when that happens, it has something to do with the capture card. And it's really hard. It looks pretty smooth to me.
Mitch is glowing. That's my magnetic personality. So what can I?
Make sure you're set at H when you're playing back when you're watching this YouTube video. Look at the little gear icon in the bottom right corner and see what resolution you're in. Make sure you're in 1080 if your bandwidth supports that. Steve's good, looks fine, looks better.
Says everybody wave back at Jerry.
All right. So now that we have the right power supply, again, the EVGA 550G, what is it, GM, GW? GM. This is a modular, small form factor, or SVX power supply. And yeah, we should be able to get this all assembled today. My goal is to be able to ship it out to Peter before I leave for vacation in 2 weeks, because it's probably going to take maybe 2 weeks for it to arrive. And I want to make sure that
because it won't go by plane, it'll go by boat, I would assume.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure to ship it by plane would be 4 times more cost of shipping.
Yeah.
But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it.
Okay.
Trevor says the color's not very good. Blacks looks gray and washed out. So that's usually the white balance that affects that. And so there is there's a white balance setting on this camera before we get started. Like I said, this is my first time using this camera, and I've left as much alone as possible to see how the automatic settings are doing. Now, all of us here in Studio B think the picture looks really good, but we don't see it on your monitor, and we don't know if the color representation of your monitor is more accurate than ours or isn't. But the feedback is appreciated. What's my white balance here? Yeah, we're at 3450 Kelvin.
You'll have to pardon me, Chad, for my pool room pallor. I don't get out in the sun much during the day, so no tan for me, because it's
let me put this on full auto.
Africa hot. I'll bet it's 102 out there right now. Blech.
So that's full auto right there. Which, I mean, I don't know what that adjusted the white balance to, but is that better or worse? What do they say?
Somebody says agree on the blacks looking gray. Contrast looks off, in my opinion.
Focus is auto.
Black looks okay to me, but there's a lot of reflections. Well, we apologize because it's so hot outside and we're running the air conditioning. I'd love to turn off the ceiling fan, but we would be cooking in here without it. So
I'm looking for the. There's a white balance in here. I can't find it. That's not what I want. I'm just thinking that the white balance is probably where we're having the issue. And this camera menu is, even the menu system looks like it's for children. It's, super big font.
Russell says white wall looks a little pink.
Looks pink, so we're getting a little red in there, huh? Where is my white balance? Autofocus speed. So there should be a button on the side of the camera, and I remember I struggled to find this before. You'd think that they'd have a button just for white balance, but it's just like the Canon. It's got an A and B and a preset. So let me put it back in manual mode. Go back to preset. There. Let's bring the temperature down. Okay. So if we bring it down to 3000, that's 3000 Kelvin. What are they saying now?
White balance is okay. Brightness is a little dark. Wall looks white now. Is Toto supposed to be purple? Hey, it's one of 50 shirts.
It's very purple.
Yeah.
They think it needs more brightness? More gain?
You can bump it a little. That looks, whoa. Yeah,
I've doubled the gain.
Okay. Patrick Rousseau, too dark. Looking good, Mitch. What can I say? I'm an actor.
I don't know. I don't think it looks dark at all.
Yeah. Actually, chat, Wednesday I went down to ASU, Arizona State University. They got a brand new building for film and television production work, and there were 25 young directors that are kind of doing their senior thesis short films. So what it was kind of an actor meetup. If you were an actor, you could go and say hello and mingle with these people and give them headshots and business cards. So I actually had a couple of young guys come up to me who needed, I won't use older, I'll say more seasoned looking individuals than a lot of them were looking for kids in their 20s and 30s for the leads and co-stars. And so they came up to me and blah, 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 you know, you'd be perfect. Gave them a headshot and resume and said, you know, go on my IMDb page, mitchmorrison.com, and see some of my clips, and we'll see. I mean, if I can hear it from them. But yeah, I mean, I was young once, never want to go back. But it's nice to kind of see the next generation, and some of their projects I kind of overheard while I was talking when some of the directors were pitching them. Seems a little grandiose for in theory, short student film. One kind of is going to shoot it out in Yuma in the dunes, a la Mad Max, and yeah, that's going to be a bit much, but we'll see if I get cast in a couple. One, I would play the owner of a convenience store. So I'm like, oh, that would be fun. So we shall see.
I just adjusted the shutter speed.
Okay.
The shutter was at a higher shutter,
yeah,
the darker it gets.
Yeah, well, and that seems a little
So when we bring the shutter down, we're at, I think, 150th, 160th.
Okay.
So did I make it better or did I make it worse?
No more futzing. All right.
Well, no, before we get started, I want to make
true.
sure it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
The purple looks purple to me. Yeah.
I mean, I can play with it for hours. And,
yeah.
Okay, Andy says it's perfect.
Yeah.
So usually Joseph says, don't touch a thing, it's perfect. So a couple of things affect the brightness of the image. We're going to deal with the color temperature, we deal with the shutter speed,
And gain.
and of course the aperture.
Okay.
Right? So the aperture and the shutter speed kind of, when you set one, the other one goes the other way. So we'll just try with this. Yep. PC looks cloudy. I don't know, does that look cloudy? I kind of see that a little bit. It just seemed not as sharp. Dr. Bill says it looked better the way it was when you started.
Frankie B says looks good. So.
Okay, let me just, these are pretty easy adjustments to make on this camera, unlike that Canon where I was struggling to find some settings.
Yeah.
Most of the settings I can get to here pretty easily.
Someone says a little muddy, not bright.
So if I bring that shutter back up to 1/100th, which is where it was, that's a simple dial twist. Shutter speed. That's 1/250 right there. That might make the picture a little too dark.
Somebody says foggy. I like that. A bit cloudy. Hi, everyone. Hi, back.
What's this do? Oh, this is our color temperature.
John says check the flux capacitor. Okay.
It's making it too blue. Bring it back. I'm going to bring that white balance back to about 3420, which is usually, we're usually around 3400, 3500 Kelvin on these cameras.
Mm.
We're at a 4.8 f-stop on here, which I would prefer to be lower, but
Thomas back and still perfect now. Okay.
Yeah, they like it. So 1/250th on the shutter. I'll have to remember these settings.
Take a photo with your phone.
So what is that? Is everybody, I mean, I don't expect everybody to agree.
Yeah, it
That'll
looks
never
good
happen.
now. Someone says a little red, but
It's a little red. I don't see the red.
wall looks like eggshell. Okay. Alvin says, like the Toto shirt, Mitch. Well, thank you. 1 of 50. I told Carrie that was my cutoff, 50. I'm not going to buy any more until they tour next year.
And then I'm sure I'll have to get one more, so 51.
So if I bring the f-stop down to 3.2,
Okay.
wow, now you're really super bright. And I don't mean intelligence.
Thank you very little.
I feel I have to explain
All right.
that. Let me drop the gain down now.
Okay.
Oh, I think that looks good. At least over here.
Okay.
Better or worse? I feel like an eye doctor.
Yeah.
A or B?
I like it. Yeah. A, yeah. Definitely A.
I just want that f-stop to be as low as possible.
Sunburned face? No, that's my rosacea. Okay. All right.
I think that looks...
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been looking good. These settings are so subtle. Better sharpness now, says Dave Hall.
Okay.
So what did I adjust? Oh, the f-stop.
Yeah.
I guess the f-stops... That makes sense. Yeah. Because we have that low f-stop lens, that f1.2, and everything's... You see every detail with it.
Captain Blinsky, Jamming to All Us Boys by Toto. Of course, on my way home, that'll make me want to put on, also on the Hydra album, White Sister, which is a smoker rockin' song. And so...
By who?
By Toto. All right.
I haven't heard that song.
Yeah.
The light switch is blending into the wall. Yeah, but that's okay. I don't want you looking over there anyway. I don't care about that. We care about
this.
Yeah. we care about this stuff here. Don't worry about that stuff back there, because then you have to deal with two different lighting. We'd have to get lights back there to fix that.
Yeah.
And it's not important.
Hey,
I appreciate the
Planet Cryos with a $2 contribution.
Says it
looks great. Great.
Sarge Tech says it's all about the content. That's what's important to me. Well, because what we're doing is educational. We want the visual to be as clear as possible, not to distract from the lesson. And because of the investment in the cameras, to just be lazy and just put everything on auto, there's no point in getting a big...
We're going to get you some smoking close-ups. So be patient.
That's right.
Be patient, grasshoppers. Some right in there. Beautiful close-ups of that power supply in there.
Long Dog says he thinks it looks reasonable. Given that it's live, I can look back at it later and make my own judgment. Yeah, I may not use this camera as a main camera.
Yeah, it's nice
first time.
Yeah, nice to try once. Yeah.
And I'm biding my time, so I can play with the Canon a bit more. I thought what we did with the Canon was very artistically nice, and a couple of people thought it. I didn't tell them, but I dialed the black completely as low as it would go, and I thought it made the image look really good. And then somebody said, too much black. And I'm like, okay, that was one person. But then someone responded, I agree. And I'm like,
now it's too.
There's this ideal photo, and then there's artistic, right? So I was trying to be a little bit different, to have the image have a little different look to it. But I guess everybody universally just doesn't want the artistic. They want it to be like a regular picture, with very vivid.
Okay.
So anyway, I wanted to try the new camera on the live feed here. And also, I've got the audio feeding through this camera, just to see if it helps balance the audio. Because the audio being unbalanced happened with the new camera. Ultimately, I don't want the audio to go through the camera regardless. We're going to have it go through a separate audio mixer. And this is all just temporary. Studio B is a temporary studio. I can't underscore that enough. So everything I'm doing now in Studio B is prepping me for what will be the new Studio C, which will be the forever studio, and things will be set in a more permanent, because lights and camera locations will be set in a more permanent, dedicated studio that'll be, it's not going to have a white wall behind me, for example. I'm not going to have the confinement that we have here. We're walking around and tripping over ourselves and everything on the floor. So we're just trying to dial it in as best we can here in Studio B. Well, we've got it. And I wanted to see if, just out of the box auto, if the Panasonic with the, what do they use, Leica lenses, Sony, who likes to use the Zeiss lenses, and then Canon. I don't know who makes Canon lenses. Is it Canon? I can't remember, but Leica and Zeiss are very, very well known in the consumer lens space, probably in the professional. I don't know the professional lenses, so.
Hasselblad is another lens maker.
Oh, yes.
That's very, very high end.
But that's more photography,
Right.
isn't it? Not
Yeah.
videography.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll continue to play with it. If you're watching the video after it airs live and you want to leave a comment about what you feel about the video quality, color, brightness, again, it's going to be very difficult to please everybody, but just kind of curious, you know.
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess we can get to work. That's our monologue. I was talking about the PC news, though. LastPass was hacked.
I saw that, yeah.
So they're recommending you change your password, but they don't think any user data is going to be compromised. But if your user data was compromised and your password was password or something silly, that would be easy to hack you once they have that encrypted file. So if you took your password seriously, even if they got the encrypted file, they wouldn't be able to know what the password was to decrypt it if you had a proper password. RoboForm still has never been hacked. So I don't know why people don't talk about RoboForm more, like in magazines and websites, but it's my choice, and you can get 30% off of RoboForm. That was one I failed to mention earlier, sponsor. And we'll try and bring them on here before the holidays and see if we can run another special with them. In the meantime, also in the news, AMD's 7000 series of Ryzen chips were introduced, and of course they're comparing them. It's a little unfair. AMD is comparing their chip that hasn't been released yet to Intel's chip that was released last year. And they're saying, look, our baseline, our mid-range 5 beats their high-end i9. And I'm like, well, that's not fair. Wait till the 13th gen Intels come out so we can have a proper comparison. Also, the AMD chips tend to not hold their value very much. Tech Deals recently tweeted about this, and he talked about the 9th gen Intel chips retailed when they were introduced at this price, and today they're sold at such and such a price. And at the same time when that 9th gen chip came out, AMD had this chip that retailed at this price, and now it sells for like $100 used on eBay. So the AMD chips are losing their value much faster than the Intel chips. Not that you're buying a computer for an investment to resell, but rather as a tool or a form of entertainment for you.
And then, of course, next week we've got the Big Apple, which reminds me, I got to shut up.
The Apple event?
The Apple event on the 7th, I believe. Let me hit.
We have the Super Bowl here.
Not this year or next year?
It's February, right?
Oh, is it? Did we get selected? Nice.
Yeah, it's the second time we're having it here.
Yeah.
That's right across the way from Studio A.
Yeah.
So there's places they're renting out houses for like 10 grand a night.
I would love for you to take one of your high-end cameras and go with me to the Scottsdale airport just for kind of some stock footage, because for the Super Bowl everyone flies in and all the people with the small planes have to kind of push them away and down to one area so all the Lear jets and everything can go in.
I had no idea. I thought they all flew into Sky Harbor.
A lot of them go into Scottsdale. So
they bus it.
So for just beautiful stock footage of just dozens of G5s and Lear jets, I'm like, that would really bring value to your short film.
If I were going to make a film, I don't know how that would help us here, but I do love. I got into filmmaking back before computers were a thing. They were a hobby for me. There was no internet, and when you told people you had a computer, they looked puzzled, like, what for, right? So everything flip-flopped. I was planning a career either in auto mechanics or cinematography. And I've always loved taking pictures, but it was too expensive. Buying the roll of film, developing the roll of film, and then you just don't know if your pictures are in focus or not until you get the film developed. Sometimes they develop a picture that was blurry, and you're paying like 10 cents for each developed photo. So I always called it the mystery bag. I have to go pay whatever the development fee is, like $8 back in the day, to get the mystery bag to find out if I got any good photos. And you had things called parallax error, where the viewfinder, this is especially true on cameras that had a zoom, where the viewfinder's off to the side and the lens is here. And as the lens zooms in, nothing happens here. So you've got, you'll see it zoom in, don't get me wrong. but it's an estimation. But the more you zoom, the more that's going to be off to the left or the right usually. And that's called parallax error. And you just didn't know until you got the film developed. So it's hard to learn how to adjust for it when you don't get the instant response like we do today with cell phones and cameras. So in any event, there was one other thing that was in the news. What we discussed.
AMD.
Gen 5 NVMe.
LastPass got hacked. Yeah.
LastPass.
Apple event next week on the 7th, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it comes to me,
Okay.
I'll let you know. Trevor says the hackers got the source code to LastPass. Yeah, that's right. And he says, I would be worried in the future what they could do with it. That's right. If they could find an exploit or if there's anything in that code that if there's any backdoors that might have been in there, there shouldn't be. But I will remind you, RoboForm is never. And RoboForm, I think, has been around far longer than any of these others.
And if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So my twin sister, I need a password manager, RoboForm. Is it going to be easy to figure out? I'm sis, if I can figure it out, you can. And if you can't, call me and I'll tell you. It's simple, easy peasy, great company.
Sarge Tech says he always liked high-end audio like Luxman, McIntosh, Conrad, Johnson. You know, when I was growing up, Polk Audio was an Alpine for the car stereos.
Yeah.
And when I worked at Radio Shack, we thought Radio Shack's speakers and stereos were they were as good as, if not better than, and sold for a fraction of the price.
Blaupunk.
Blaupunk, yeah.
For auto stereos. Everyone, ooh, aren't you fancy?
Lagrinia says RoboForm and Acronis are the best two pieces of software I've ever invested in. Oh, you know who else got hacked? Samsung got hacked in July. And I got an email about it today. Thanks for letting me know what happened 6 weeks ago, Samsung. So, yeah, it's getting worse, folks. Walter says the color and sound are fine. All right, well, thanks for answering the question we asked 10 minutes ago. I don't like to put DVR mode for exactly that reason. Many of you are watching what we did 10 minutes ago and you're responding to it now. And this is why I turn DVR off, to avoid this confusion. Though I do appreciate the feedback. It kind of throws us off in the live stream if you're not current. If you hit the refresh button, make sure that little traveling bar below your picture is all the way to the right so that you're keeping up with us. Or don't respond if you're watching 10 minutes behind because it's confusing. Otherwise, I turn that darn DVR off again for the live feeds. But I do appreciate the feedback. 10 minutes ago. All right. Sparkomatic stereos for the car. I think that was a brand. Wasn't it?
Okay, sounds like it.
I think it, because it sounds like a joke, but I think it was real. Bass 48 car speaker. Bass 48? I don't know what that is. Rockford was a big one.
Yep.
I couldn't afford that stuff. All right. Shall we get to work?
All right.
45-minute monologue here.
And you've got this in the video notes as to what it cost you?
Yes. The video notes for all three parts have all been, they all reflect all the same changes now.
Okay.
So if you're looking at part 2 or part 1, those are going to be the same video notes.
Okay.
And so all the parts for the build are in the video notes. If I've left anything out, you can let me know in the comments and I'll correct it.
Okay.
But some of this stuff, like the Train PC, that hasn't been made in like 10 years. I think I have a link to some product page to it, but you can't buy them anymore. Maybe on eBay or something. But and then they had that yacht, which they don't make any. They really don't make the specialty cases. They probably cost more than all the engineering and tooling of the factory that it takes.
If you want specialty, get the spaceship. Secotep or whatever.
Okay. Now the problem with that is you can't get a full-size video card in there. So you're going to sacrifice. Well, the same is true with this, though.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to sacrifice for the
look,
either the compact nature of it or the limitations of it due to its the first and foremost, the priority is the case. It's not about the computer.
Okay.
So this is really all about having a special looking case. It's not about maximizing airflow. It's not about being the easiest to work in, right? So the priority here is to just have something very, very different. And if you want something that you can overclock in and put a video card in and looks like a train, I think you could probably pick one of those things, but not have all three. Ray Burke joins us in the chat. Welcome in, Ray. Thanks for joining us. Josh Kinder said he's going to go do a live video today at 9, but he doesn't tell us what time zone he's in, so that's not too helpful. Let's see what else. Josiah Guernsey became a member for 2 months here. Well, thanks, Josiah, for supporting the channel and becoming a member of our tech club. Alvin Shaver contributed via Super Chat, $5. Says, hope everyone is having a good day. Well, right on. We will if you will. Joseph Hawkins says, hopefully Artemis goes up tomorrow. Yeah, they got to launch that first test launch of Artemis. And SpaceX is launching every 5 days. They've had 39 launches this year, and they'll be doing launches like every 5 days, putting those Starlink satellites up. They've landed the first stage, I think 150 times. Not the same one, but a total of like 150 times. They got that thing just dialed in.
Yeah.
It's dialed in. It's been a long time since I've seen a SpaceX rocket blow up. So that's really impressive how routine this is becoming. Nobody pays any attention anymore. If you ever watch a SpaceX rocket go up, do know it's about 8 minutes from the time of takeoff until the first stage lands. So if you just want to skip the whole middle part, watch it launch, and then just fast forward to about 8 minutes and so many seconds, and you'll see that the right about the time the second engine cuts off is about the same exact time the first stage lands. You'll hear the two call-outs, SECO, second engine cutoff, and first stage landing. It's just amazing. I mean, I'm so enthralled with it because rocket launches were pretty rare growing up. And you know, SpaceX, Blue Origin, they're even Atlas, they're running rocket launches fairly routinely without much, or if any, problems. So now that NASA's got back into it and the government's back involved, of course they had a problem that they had to scrub the launch. I'm just saying.
Yep.
No, I'm not trying to disparage them, but it seems like they're going backwards, having this be all costing so much and taking so long with doing it all through NASA instead of third parties. But I hope it does work. I hope it doesn't blow up, and because you know that's going to take us to the moon, you know, again. And I'm shocked at how people don't talk about it more. It's just space travel's become so routine. Anyway, Joshua says SpaceX hasn't blown up since the demo. Well, they got the big Starship that's had some issues. They're still working on it. MECO is main engine cutoff, SECO is secondary. That's right, MECO. There's a band called MECO that did the Star Wars medley, and it's like an 80s pop song. I think it was 80s. And Stars on 45, that was like a medley of like Beatles songs they did and other music. That came out about the same time. So MECO did the Cantina song, and they did the Star Wars song, and they just pop music. And I didn't know MECO's, hadn't thought about it. And then one day I was watching something on TV, some rocket launch, and they mentioned MECO, main engine cutoff. And I went, oh, that's the name of that band.
Yeah.
So it took me 30 years.
Yeah.
All right. Bob R contributes $10, says, hey, Carrie and Mitch, happy Friday and holiday weekend. Let's shoot for the moon. That's right. Labor Day weekend is a 3-day weekend here in the States. I take it's a law that you have to barbecue. Rick and Morty, season 3, episode 1, Sunday night.
Sunday?
No, not season 3, season 4. I don't know the season. The new season starts
Sunday.
Is it 3 or 4? Season 4. Season 4, episode 1, this Sunday night. I can't wait. And the new Lord of the Rings on Amazon Prime started yesterday. And one other show. There's been nothing on TV, so I'm so excited there's stuff.
Nice.
All of a sudden. All right.
Should
So, I've already opened this up because I wanted to make sure it would fit before we did today's show. I didn't want any more reason to have to postpone it. So inside, this is what it'll look like when you get your power supply. If you get this one, got an owner's manual, which I don't know what that's for. We've got our modular cables, and then the power supply itself is underneath this foam. So that's our power supply there, and we can just set this to the side. They do include a little bracket, so you could take this little power supply, put this bracket on it, and it'll fit in a regular case. It's a nice little add-on. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but if you just had an extra one laying around, these are certainly more expensive.
Did it come with screws? Oh.
It should. There should be some screws in there, but we're going to probably just use the screws that...
That's it, yeah. Yeah.
You don't see screws in there? So
Yeah.
It's probably a plastic bag in there. And then, of course, we've got the close-up camera today. Let's go to that close-up camera. I want to check to see if the images are going to be significantly different now, because I haven't adjusted the close-up camera's colors to match with the main camera like I did before.
Got a nice silica gel packet for you to eat.
Oh, I was hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, I remember you saved the screws, so we might as well use the ones that...
Yeah, I think I got them in a Ziploc bag
Okay.
there. Let's go to camera 2. Let's see what the colors look like on camera 2. Come on in, camera 2. Well, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys like the picture quality of camera 2 better than camera 1? Let me know your thoughts. We'll see what the consensus is.
And so...
Go ahead and bring that down. Tilt it down. I want to see the table. No, I want you to tilt it. I don't want you to lower it.
Yeah.
Are you zoomed all the way out?
Can I open?
Step back a little bit.
Can I
Okay,
open
watch
this?
your step.
Can I open this? Can I?
Please.
Like Christmas. All right.
Just rip it. We're not saving the bag.
Okay.
Rip it good.
Yeah.
Everybody says camera 2 is much better.
Ah. Ooh. Very nice.
And then I want you to show that sticker
Okay.
up to the camera. We'll give that a minute to focus so you can read this. It's very important because they get a lot of phone calls. People think the fan isn't working,
Okay.
so they force you to have to read this sticker by covering up the plug. You have to remove that sticker to plug it in. So they want you to know if you put it in eco mode, the fan isn't going to turn because it doesn't need to. Don't call us.
Okay.
It's fine.
Here it is. Beautiful.
Ray Sudbury says the colors are more vivid on camera 2 there.
Fully modular, of course.
I'm getting another Gatorade. Do you want anything, Mitch?
Beautiful. I'm good. Yeah. So should I leave the sticker on or take it off?
No, I just wanted to show everybody.
Okay.
Go ahead and peel that off, please. Well, universally, everybody's saying this picture's better.
Ah.
That's the cheapest camera I have now.
I just laugh. These are so tiny. These, you know.
And then show them the connectors on the back. Is that right side up? Yeah. So you got SATA, CPU, VGA 1, VGA 2, peripherals, and motherboard. Motherboard are the two there. Bottom right. Dave Hall says color, sharpness, and sound are great. Right on. Of course, we're not adjusting anything with the sound, but
So which way
Joseph
is...
Hawkins says the camera girl had been hiding.
Ah. So this goes
supposed to
this
see the
goes
camera.
here, I'm going to assume, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna let you figure that out.
Let's
Let's
see.
move this temporarily out of the way.
Okay.
So
Would the
Camera can see.
would the fan go towards the choo-choo or the choo-choo or no, that's got to go inside, right?
I wouldn't, and the reason I wouldn't is because this is sucking in air. This fan.
Okay.
So where's it going to draw air in if you turn it on the inside? Whereas this has a back plate, right, that goes on here, and it's vented. So this fan pulls air in, and then it pushes it out the back. So if we were to put this in like this, There's nowhere for it to draw air in on the front of this,
Gotcha.
right? So we want the fan to face outward, just like that.
And like this.
Uh-huh.
Boy, that's going to be tight for the cable,
I
right?
think so. You're... Oh, let's see. Oh, you know what, Mitch? Okay, so what Mitch is talking about here is because this is a modular power supply, once this is
Secure.
secured, yeah, we have about an inch of space. It should just barely fit, but let's attach some cables now.
Okay.
Because it might be near impossible to do it later.
I will get them.
So, yeah, please. So these colors and sharpness and everything on this little Sony look good. Isn't that funny that, yeah, watching Marcus Pick's YouTube channel, he compared this little Sony, what is this, an R100 Mark 7, RX100 Mark 7, something like that. It's very impressive. It's the same size image sensor, but how Sony interprets the colors is pretty interesting, how out of the box it's good to go. Now, with any of these cameras, especially my higher end ones, I can make a ton of adjustments that are simply not available on this Sony. But not everybody wants to be that control freak all the time. Sometimes you just want to whip your camera out and take a darn picture. You don't want to mess around for 5 or 6 minutes with settings, and then whatever it was you wanted to take a picture is gone, or the lighting has changed, like a sunset or some wildlife. So it's nice to have the kind of camera where you can just take it out of your pocket, have it turned on instantly, take a photo, and have it look amazing. And I'm really impressed with this Sony. I mean, I might just need to buy another one, and that might be a good live stream camera, and use my bigger cameras for some other video project ideas I have. But I've got one more video camera to test, but not today.
Which one do you use? Can't tell.
Well, let's see. Let's set the cables down here so we can show the audience what cables we get with the power supply. So we've got 3 bundles there. This bundle is going to be the CPU power connector, and then there's a Molex. We're not going to use Molex. This bundle has SATA connectors, and this bundle must be the motherboard power connector. So we want that bundle right now. And then I think that's all we're going to use. I don't think we need any of the other connectors.
So yeah, there's our PSU. There's our motherboard.
Ooh, it's a short cable, isn't it?
Ooh.
We might be in trouble. All right, so what we can do right now to make sure that we're not going to have a fitment issue, because it's possible, due to the modular nature of this power supply, that the cables stick out a little further than they would on a non-modular. So we have, but with the non-modular, we really don't have a lot of room to store the spare cables we're not using. So one way or the other, again, this isn't a normal PC build where the emphasis is on the computer. This is a PC build where the emphasis is on the case. So we'll make some sacrifices to achieve a certain design. And so we're not putting a video card in, we're using onboard video. I'm just trying to remember, I think the only thing in this car is a fan, and that's going to run off the motherboard.
Okay.
So we should only need those 2 cables. All the rest of these, we can put that, oh no, I need that one last, the CPU power cable, also known as an EPS power cable. Don't confuse this with a VGA power cable like I just did. See on the side it says VGA?
Okay.
That's not right. Yeah, well that's a VGA cable because it's split right there. A motherboard power cable looks the same, only it's split into 2 4s. So this is a 4, so this is a 6 and a 2. That's what a discrete graphics card will use.
Okay.
The CPU EPS power will be 2 4s, and it should say CPU on the side.
CPU on the side.
Wait a minute, on both sides?
Just on the one side.
That's the one. You got it.
We'll show you here.
We might just have Camera Girl do the whole video,
Ah,
since everybody likes the video quality better.
I'm good with that.
so you've got two 4s.
Yeah, see, the
up
other
there.
power supply only had 1 4. That's why we couldn't use it. The motherboard requires
Okay.
2 4-pin connectors.
So you need this.
So if we go back to here, there's this part that is 2 4s goes to the board. Even though you could theoretically plug this part in, if you had a 4-pin connector,
Okay.
also notice how thin the little clip is. That's not going to snap into the motherboard properly on this side. So even though it says CPU, this is the part that goes to the back of the power supply where it also says CPU. Can you see that? Now the question is, you see how far out, how much thicker the power supply has become? So when we go to set this into the case, again with the fan facing outward, thank you. Take a look at how that's going to be. I don't want Mitch to be right, because then it's going to postpone our build. It's going to be tight though. Let's see if I can get this first part in. So I know originally when I did the first build, I had already thought of this, but now that it's been sitting for such a long time, this is sort of bringing back memories of why I did things like I did back then. But
Looks to me like you've got the space, but
okay, so I'm gonna, folks, there's times when being an instructor and showing you how to do things, which is my main purpose for making these videos, make a job harder because I'm working typically backwards. In this scenario, this is very unique. I want my full attention on this, so you're not going to have a very good view of it, but I'll show you what it looks like if I can get it to fit. One thing's for sure, these cables will not become unplugged in shipping, I can tell you that. I think it's just fitting. So we should have the power supply screws. Once I secure this, I will turn it around so Camera Girl can give you guys the view that we're looking at. And thank goodness we don't have that slimline DVD in there, because that would just add to this.
you may have to lift it up a little.
Yeah. We would just be, we've got very little space left over now, so if we had more cables, such as a power cable and a data cable going to a DVD drive, it could be done, but I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really cramped. So I'll go ahead and turn this around, and I'll do the other 2 screws so the camera can look over my shoulder, if you will. That's the other 2 screws right there.
Right here and right here. You go around.
Go ahead and bring that over. Oh,
Yep.
oh, it's perfect. And will you hand me that bright orange work light? And will you take that? Thank you.
You want to kind of tighten those up?
Not
Or
just
just
yet.
this one?
I want to show the audience just how tight.
No, it's not a 90, but
Go ahead and just turn it like that. You can see we are right up against this plastic window here. And we just had to push these cables in just to get past this lip right here. And I can give you an idea. It's going to, being able to plug any of these other modular cables is probably going to require taking this power supply back out.
I think we've got the length. What do you think? To go through to the card of the motherboard,
The
it's going
problem
to be
is
close.
the connector on the board. We look down at this board. Our motherboard connector. Let's see, which way does this face on the? Bring me the train car. I set it on the floor. The coal car. So this is the back that's vented. that I talked about why we want the fan facing this side. All right, so the motherboard, let me just see here for a minute. So where this fan is, goes this way. And when the board goes in, board's gonna go in this way. Oh, yeah, so our power connector's good, but the CPU power connector, that one looks a little longer, so we might be okay.
Just might be okay.
Do me a favor, give me the yellow-handled screwdriver. I'll go ahead and tighten the power supply down, and then we'll put that back.
Okay.
You move that for me. I put it in my own way. Here, take this. Thank you.
Just don't want to strip them, but you just want to secure them up.
Well, because my electric driver's on a really low torque setting, which is fine for like the motherboard and drives, power supply is heavy, and the screws are rather shallow. And because this is going so far, just don't want that to break free. But yeah, you don't want it so tight that it
so we got it in.
strips the head off. Let me go ahead and give that back to you. And then we're going to take 3 cables through this grommet. That's our CPU power cable, our main motherboard power cable. And these grommets will come off when you do this. Don't worry about that yet. And then would you hand me that USB cable right here? And let's try and get that away from these cables. Because anything that interferes with them that can cause any sort of ability to not give us our maximum length, because we're going to need every bit of it for this to work. And there's a little groove in this grommet, and you just got to seat it back in the groove. And then this piece, if we pull on these, if you want to go ahead and set that back down, that would be great, okay? So these cables, you know, we're going to lose some of our length of cable because they've got to travel down first. Oh, and we need the power switch and reset switch and stuff. Actually, I don't think this has a reset switch. It's got power switch, and hard drive. So everything but a reset switch.
Okay.
And we should then be able to bring this up. Oh, you know what? This piece has to go the other way. I don't know what I was thinking. These little clips are what connect the other car.
Oh, the car.
Yeah. I was thinking these clips went in there. But that's not what they is for.
Never mind.
I'm going to just take this off right now. So this is going to go this way, which means I would think this should go on this side, wouldn't you?
Works for me.
That's how I would do it. Now we get to do this all over again. Okay, CPU power. I want the umbilicals to go to the left, and we want the main power cable. We probably should have put that one in first because of how wide it is. And you know what? People don't have to look at the back of my head with the camera girl here.
And you got one more?
You make that happen.
No, because I don't want to expose the hole in my head. It lets the hot air out.
That's for sure. Okay.
Let's see. There's one getting hung up here. Where is it? Riveting video, folks.
Yes.
All right, now we want to pull through as much slack.
I'm holding on to the lip.
Okay, thank you for that. Never thought of that before because it's never been an option for me when I work normally. We'll bring this down like so.
Oh, and that screws on?
Yeah, I've got the screws.
Okay.
Probably going to need that little JIS-Black handle driver.
Coming up.
We're going to use these little tiny screws. I believe it's these. Whee! Let's see, what do we have to use here? Were they rounded or were they flat? I thought they were flat like this.
You'll know in a second.
Yeah, I'm about to find out.
You got enough slack?
Oh, you know what? This did use thumb screws, didn't it?
Oh,
I think it did use thumb screws.
okay.
I'd have to go back in the video and rewatch, but yeah, this used thumb screws. Because I remember there's one kind of hidden in the middle at the bottom.
Or, yeah, now I'm through, yeah, on our...
So we want to push that. Hey, cat-like reflexes.
You're not in, but,
Okay.
okay, you're close.
Little bit tricky. I mean, we have to go through all this,
Say when. And I'll
even
hold it,
if our cables are too short. We just won't know for sure. So right there is where I needed help.
yeah. Okay, got it. I got it. I ain't got it.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on this side that doesn't exist on this side because of all the cables pushing outward there.
Oh, yeah.
So what I need you to do is to kind of, it's swinging like this.
Okay,
So I need it to swing up.
up.
Yeah, like it needs to go this way. So can you push on this corner as hard as you can, just the edge? No, it needs to come
Up.
So this is swinging like this, Mitch.
Okay,
Right now it's sitting like this,
okay.
and I need it to go like that.
How's like this?
So yes, thank you. Well, no, you just had it. Nope. Got to use all your strength, much as you can. Give it the beans. You're almost there. You talk about a tight fit. That thing is. Okay, you can let it go.
You sure?
No. Give that a little, see if you can swing it a little bit, one way or the other. Just like, there it is, you get it. Some thumb screws these are. You're not going to be able to take these out with your thumbs. Oh, that's not looking good. If that's all we're going to have left,
Yeah.
that is not ideal.
Let me make sure my
Then there's one screw down here.
fingers don't get pinched.
Go ahead and tilt that forward like this.
You got it.
I mean, you know, so they gave us plenty with these two. I
Yeah.
would love all of these to be that length. Everything is but the motherboard power, so we might be lucky here.
And just make
But
it.
like I said, we just don't know until we...
Is that all of them?
Yeah, that's the 5.
Okay.
There's 2, 2, and 1 in the middle.
Okay.
So now, give it a rotate. Let's go ahead and set that aside. And we'll get the box car back up here.
Box car back up.
Let me bring the grandchildren around and I'll tell you a story.
That's awful. All right.
How much did that shirt cost you?
Oh, they run about $30.
$30. When I was your
so-
age, I could get a shirt like that for a nickel.
Okay.
How old are you now, Mitch?
Too old. All right.
When I was your age, I was 2 years younger. See, I was going to make that joke work one way or the other. All right, so now, camera lady, we've got 4 standoffs on a Mini-ITX. That's all you get. There's no other position, so they're pretty well welded in there.
Okay.
And you'll see it's just 1 screw goes in each corner.
Okay.
So I'm going to set the board in here. We want to put the I/O ports in first because they stick out a little bit.
Can you do it this way?
Everything's matching in color, which is good. I like that. And then, what screws did I use for the motherboard? They're definitely not thumb screws. What do we have to pick from? Got these little flat ones. You've got these round ones. Whatever it is, I've got to have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's nice that you can count that high. Okay.
Oh, these 4 were for the optical drive that used to be. That's why they're so shallow and flat.
Okay.
So these are going to be our motherboard screws. This is my Milwaukee screwdriver. Now, it's called an M4. It has a clutch on it, an auto-off clutch. The driver will turn itself off when the clutch setting is hit. If you're new to building, it's fine to use an electric driver to take screws out, but please don't use an electric driver to put screws in unless you're very familiar with your screwdriver. I'm intimately familiar with this screwdriver. That sounded wrong.
And you keep it on 3.
I keep the torque on 3 up here.
Yep.
It's faded out there.
Okay.
If we lock it, that means we can turn this without the spindle turning. It's 2 speeds. I keep it on the faster speed. Just my preferences. It has the gun shape. And it gives us a battery meter right here on the handle, 3 out of 4. So we're 75%. We're between 51 and 75% charge. That's the battery that's in it, which I dated. I always date my batteries.
But it did not come with this nice bit.
No, it comes with a shorter bit, but these are bits I get off Amazon. That's a PH2 Phillips extension bit. With these drivers, you want to make sure you have the little notch in there for the little
6-inch?
I think it was advertised as 6, but they don't always have this little place. There's a ball detent inside the socket, and you have to lift up on what's called the chuck to release it. If you don't have that little indent, then the bits just fall out all the time. See, it locks.
Yep.
So a little detent for the ball is just wonderful. And
you want some light in there for the camera?
Yeah, right here. This light right here will be good. Boy, somebody needs a manicure, Carrie. It's terrible.
It's nothing like a buff and a shine. All right, okay.
A buff and a shine?
Yeah. Missed it by that much. Okay. A 1. Okay.
Oh, guess what? I am not going to be able to get that cable. I want you to bring the camera straight over if you can, because I want you to see how tight that's going to be between this rear fan and that main motherboard power cable.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So we're likely going to have to remove this fan so we can get our hands in there.
Okay.
And when I say we, I mean me.
Yeah.
But there is me, myself, and I, so there are 3 of us. So you can see it's a little nerve-wracking not knowing if our cable's going to be long enough. There's really no way for us to test it other than by assembling it and hoping for the best. But I absolutely have to take this rear fan off. Those are funky fan screws. They're longer than most with a shoulder. And that's because they hold the filter on. We only filter air that is being pulled in. We don't filter air that we exhaust, because that's just going to reduce your cooling ability. And it's good for the camera angle. You can see much, much better in there.
Here's our...
Yeah, that's the main motherboard power connector. So you can see the cable's got to run through here and then just over to there. But the CPU one's got to go all the way to the back.
We might, I think the CPU, we've got the length. This, you just might make it. We'll see here.
Yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot of room
fingers crossed.
Margin for any slack there. So let me give you this back. And let me give you this back. And so this is going to go on here when we're done. Okay. So we're not going to have any height issues. If we were going to use a third-party cooler, that could be a problem. Well, this is a third-party cooler, but it's a low profile.
Yep.
But like a Mugen 5, you wouldn't be able to put the,
Nope.
the side back on.
You want the train?
No, I just want you to set that aside so it's out of the way. So, oh yeah, I do want the train. I want you to do both. Oh, this entire piece comes off. Can I have that little black screwdriver back?
JS?
Yes, please. The reason that's wobbly is this screw right here is very loose. Very loose. What's good about that, however, even this lid can come off. So if you do need to get your hands in there, like for the that 8-pin CPU power cable, if we can't get it down in there, we can take the top off without having to undo everything else we've already done. And this has been sitting for a while, and I think maybe I had it apart and didn't tighten it back up. So I just want to go over all the screws. Looks good. There's nothing there. Okay. Wonder what that hole is for. That's for something. No idea. I'm sure it's in the documentation. So here's the tricky part, ladies and gentlemen. If you set this down here.
Oh, through there.
The problem's going to be once we put this in, then we won't be able to get the fan back on because we have to come in from this side.
Yeah.
It's quite a conundrum. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just leave the fan off. I just want to see if this main cable's going to fit before we overcommit. Actually, this should be going the other way. We want this big motherboard power cable as far to this side because we're going to go here with it.
Gotcha. So
anytime we have to get around something, it takes up some slack and reduces the amount of length we have left over. That's fine. Bring in this side. So it's like, you know, it's coming out one way and it's got to go in the opposite way, and they're right next to each other. Let's bring this over here. Is that camera getting hot yet? No? Go ahead and lay it flat. There you go. Make life easier. Is this going to reach? If we snap that in. Anytime the cable's all twisted again, it's going to remove or take away from the length. So we got to keep it as straight as possible and have it running the shortest path possible if this is going to reach. So I'm going to click this in because by clicking it in, it's going to give us a little bit more. Even though I have to take this all back apart to put the fan in it.
You just might. I don't know. I don't. It's iffy. So.
Go up a little bit more. Will it fit? Oh my gosh, it looks like I was We really need that coming down the other way. See how we got it coming in at the top of the grommet? It needs to come in at the bottom of the grommet because once we rotate this and go to face it down, it's off by about 2 inches. Now we can get an extension cable. The problem is then we're going to have too much.
Right.
But, and there is a window it's up here in the case. But that might be something we're going to have to do. You know, it's weird they brought the cables in at the bottom, knowing that all Mini-ITX boards have the power connector in the same place. Mm-hmm. So, of course, this power supply didn't exist when this case was introduced. So I'll tell you what. What I want is this cable. The bottom. And all these other cables can go on top. Can you tilt that light? It's red in my eyes. I don't think we're going to have any joy with this. I have another idea. Remember we had to buy those extensions for the media PC we haven't finished?
Right.
I think we got a donor for extensions. We're definitely going to need an extension.
Okay.
That's way too tight for my comfort.
Yep.
So bear with me here for a second. Let me recharge. I got to recharge my batteries.
You got a water in there?
Fiji?
Delicious.
I'll get you a Fiji.
So you think that the 50s HPCP might have an extension? Or you're certain?
Well, you're mixing up some letters there. What did you call it? It's a home theater, HTPC.
Yeah.
And then
dyslexic am I? No, the
high-end desktop, which is
home theater,
HTDC.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's to you.
We got acronyms
Chat,
for our
cheers.
acronyms. Yeah, let me go to the back room and see. I know where that home theater PC we never finished. That's on the to-do list, Mitch.
Okay.
But after I get back from vacation.
All right. So how's everybody doing? Why don't you, while I look here, while I look in chat, tell me where you're viewing from, and let me know. It's kind of fun to see, you know, people from all over the world tuning in. Starshine, oh, Mitch Toto, yes, I'm their biggest fan. What can I say? Love them. Florida, England, nice. Wisconsin, North Carolina.
We're gonna go from one extreme to the other here.
Okay.
I wonder if we should just replace that cable entirely, because then we're gonna have too much.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't replace it because it's in two pieces on the back of the power supply. It separates it into two. So that won't work. But just to get us up and running,
Okay.
or at least make the attempt. There's that piece there. And then we can put this on. This will do two things for us. One, I don't have to get the main section hooked so close, so I can still put the fan on. Because if I put the fan on now, then it'll be very difficult for me to get my hands onto hook up this extension cable. Now, of course, we'd have custom cables made and, you know, at the length we need, but no one's really going to see it.
I didn't hear the click.
No, and it looks like it's there.
There, I heard the click.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's one thing down. Now we can put the fan back on it. That's going to go on. Let's see, where's our... Can I see the flashlight? I'm trying to think where I want the fan. Fan power's got to go all the way up at the top here.
Okay.
That's why it's good this top comes off if we have trouble getting into that tight space. But we do have a lot of cable on the fan.
You want the Milwaukee or the JIS? Put that in.
The Milwaukee. Let me see that flashlight one more time. There's 2 extra fan headers, one CPU optional and the other I think is just for a system fan. I'm gonna guess this one is the system fan. I don't know if you can even see this with the camera, but it's way down in here. And it really doesn't matter if I put it on CPU optional. I just... It's just my OCD, you know? My CDO, if I advertise it. Are you able to see that at all?
Your hands in the way.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Your hand's in the way. There, I told you about it. Yeah. Trouble? Butterfingers? All right.
No, it's just
Okay,
a tight
good.
fit.
Okay. Okay, now how is this? This way?
Mitch was like,
This way
Mitch
or
said,
this
you
way?
know, you always disagree with me. And I'm like, no, I don't.
This way or this way? Okay.
Oh, well, there's a grid here, and that's to keep the fingers out,
Okay.
right?
So I would assume this way.
No,
No.
because we don't filter exhaust air.
This
We
way.
filter incoming air. So it would be that way. And then this will go on. Like so. I want you to see how tight this fit is. You can get the camera straight up over this. I mean, everything, you know, for this to work, everything's got to be just so. Okay, so you get an idea of what our struggle is, and of course, it's hard enough to do without filming it. Trying to give you an angle on it so you can see is, well, let's just say if you're a member of Cirque du Soleil, it might be beneficial.
6 hands are better than 1. All right, here we go. You need the light or you think you got it? By
I need you
feel?
to kit this out of my way.
Why, certainly.
I can put this in the gun mode just to shorten up the distance. Just get that started. I can't see this at all. Oh, that's better. Should have just did that. You know, just because this one's upright doesn't mean that one has to be upright. And that's what that extra cable affords us. If we were not to use the extension, then we wouldn't be able to do this.
You know, I'm going to remind you that you're going to have to order another one of those for the build. Otherwise, we can't finish the
That's
home
right.
theater build.
But the good news is the home theater build doesn't have a deadline on it. And it's a really cool case. I really like that case. I was just a little disappointed when it arrived at how large it was. Given it's a Mini-ITX case, it's one of the biggest Mini-ITX cases I've ever seen.
I have a nice place for it in the screening room. Okay.
I hope so, because I have no place for it here once it's built.
At Morrison Manor. Okay. Yeah.
Morrison Manor. How's your butler?
Sledgehammer, he's okay.
I thought his name was Winston.
Spiffington.
He
All right.
raised you, didn't
Yeah, Spiffington, yeah. No, wolves. I was raised by.
he? You were raised by wolves?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have to put paper down, ladies
And a
and
French upstairs maid, but we won't go into that. Okay, all right.
gentlemen. Wow, well.
Lucky you.
Okay, so we're going to need the other extension for this one as well, because otherwise,
Gotcha.
any type of work on this computer,
Okay.
even if we can make this fit when they're finally connected,
Right.
it means any sort of upgrade or repair, the person who's getting this, they're going to be several
Yep.
thousand miles away on another continent.
Have you got the other extension?
Yeah, didn't I bring them both?
Oh,
Yeah. I guess I could put this end down first.
you need light?
Yeah, please. Aziz!
Name the movie. All right.
I'm looking where the clip is. My big head's in the way of the light.
I just don't want to blind you as much as I'd like to. All right. Click.
Who said that?
Okay.
Here, go ahead and hold that for me. Oh, this is very difficult. Really should just take the roof off of this thing. So close, though.
Forceps.
Yeah, will you hand me the forceps?
In this drawer, the big drawer?
Yeah. Can't tell how seated I am there. This'll do it.
Can you see?
Not really. Just don't want to slam into the motherboard with the forceps, because see, what I need is I need the light this way.
And my arm's in the way. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're
Steady.
fully seated there.
Okay.
Thank you. Don't take that light too far yet.
Okay.
Now this connector and this connector. See, unlike the, a lot of people think this looks like the video card power, but these clips are much, much wider, and each one has a wide clip.
Okay.
And the video card ones typically only have a clip half as wide, and it's off to the right or the left, depending on how you see it. Okay, so that's our extensions. Ooh, got lucky we had those from the other build. This will need to get wire tied up, but for right now, I'm just going to push it out of the way.
Okay.
Can I see that side panel for this? I just want to make sure we're not going to have it look ugly. I'll have to think of a clever way to do something with these cables. Yeah, so you're not going to be able to see inside of that. So we don't have to worry about making the cables look pretty, because there's really nowhere to put them anyway. So now we've got our USB 3 and our front I/O. So before I put that rear fan in, I should have put this front I/O on. Realizing my error in judgment there. Let's have this go this way and then down under here like this. Now, I'm going to use this screw. Can you give me one of those dental picks, if you would? It should be in dental pick right over here. Skinny silver little. It's like something the dentist uses on you. Yeah, that'll be fine. I just want it as a pointer. And then if we get that light over here, right down here is our USB 3 connector here. Borrow that from you for a second. Can you lift the light up? Get it a little further away, further away. Okay, that's good. And then this connector right in front of the RAM, right here. That's our power switch, reset switch. That's normally down in the left corner.
Gotcha.
Or sorry, it'd be the bottom right.
Yep.
On Mini-ITX ports, it's right up by the power connector, pretty much universally. Let's see if I can move this. And now my hand, the camera itself is getting in the way of the light. Can you bring the light in on an angle? So this is why this gets to be a very difficult thing to film, but the cables are all going to go onto the connector the same way that on every other motherboard. It's just that the location of that connector, because of the size limitation of the Mini-ITX design, they're pretty much universally located up here. Now, of course, for all the extensions we have, what we don't have an extension for are these.
Oh, you're gonna need the light. Yeah.
I will need it, yeah.
Now? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let me just take a quick look. What I believe the order is exactly the same, starting with the bottom row. We have the hard drive LED and power LED. Positive cable going to the left. Boy, a quick connect would be good here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And the reset switch goes next to that. Can I see those needle nose pliers I've got in the tool drawer, please? Because this requires, it's a very narrow, I should have another set that's even narrower than these. Should be right up front with black handle.
Black handle.
Might be buried over, should be over here somewhere by the cutters. That's the ones. These are my vampires.
Okay.
See, vampire tools.
Be careful, they bite. Okay, that's her slogan. Right.
You are what they eat. Right? If a vampire bites you, don't you become a vampire?
That's another slogan, yeah.
Well, golly gosh darn, Mitch, I think this fan should have come out. I should not have put the fan on yet.
A little ahead of yourself.
Well, no, because now that I think about it, once this is on, then the minute we move it and we pull on it, we might just pull it right back off because we don't have much slack.
This is worse than the game operation. All right, with the funny bone. Okay.
All right, so the hard drive LED we'll put on first.
Get enough light?
Yeah, light is perfect. Keep it right where you got it. Sorry we haven't been paying attention to the chat room. My back is to the camera. My back is to the screen right now, so someone's probably shouting, "There's no sound!" And I'll never know. This one's a little more challenging because they're separated for compatibility with different motherboard pinouts. We could manually change that to a fixed one. This is delicate work. Let me borrow the light from you for a second.
How many Red Bulls have you had today? Shake his hands in them.
You know what?
5-hour energy drinks. You had 10 of them today?
We're gonna need another one.
Okay. That is delicate, I'll give you that. Yeah.
You hold this light for me.
Right here?
Yeah.
Where you
Keep it this way.
right there?
Right there.
Right there.
It's our power switch. This is our power LED. Everything is the opposite of how I want it. I think I'm going to do the power LED first.
what do you call that thing where you plug them all in and then you plug it in? It's an adapter or
Like
something?
a quick connector.
Quick connect, yeah.
Or we could even use like we could repurpose a USB cable like out of an old case and just put all these into a USB connector and then put it just one connector down.
That'd be too easy.
Yeah. Who wants to do things the easy way? Where's the fun in that? Where's the challenge, Mitch?
If your fingers were just a little smaller. And taperier.
Can you imagine
taperier.
how much free stuff I could get out of vending machines if that were the case? You know, I slap these on in like 10 seconds on a regular computer.
Yeah. You know, if you took the RAM out, you'd probably have more space.
I would have a little bit. I was just thinking the same
that
thing.
But that makes sense. Okay.
I get a little stubborn, you know. Keeps me coming back for more. I mean, I suppose we could take that RAM out. Doesn't look like it would be too difficult to put in. This side doesn't even open. If you ever hold that for me.
You gonna take a chance?
I'm gonna take the RAM out.
Okay.
What you don't want to do, folks, is you don't want to get to a point of frustration where you start forcing things. Especially on a case this small. It's not going to be too forgiving to abuse. So if you get to a point where you're really frustrated and you want to throw it across the room, just stop, take a little break, give yourself some time to
Hey,
cool
there's
off.
the man, Michael Dane. Carrie, you know it's not nice to have your back to people laughing out loud. Well, Michael Dane is the man.
Say
He
it to
is-
my face, Michael.
Yeah, he is the man. All right.
I'll tell you what, I'll just take the one RAM module out.
That might give you just enough.
I'm going to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Stay positive, you know? Remember, folks, no matter what,
Hope is a good thing. That was a Shawshank Redemption. Okay.
everything is going to be okay. No matter what, it's all going to be okay.
Till a smoke test. Poof.
Even then, still be okay. It was a little easier, huh?
Yeah.
Now the hard drive LED, I can put that on just below that. Which way is positive? That way. Still can't get over how that little camera's giving us a better picture, just out of the box, you know?
Yep. Amazingly sharp.
I mean, if we took that outside and tried to do this in the heat, I can guarantee you that camera would overheat and shut off.
Yep.
We're at half battery.
Yeah.
Okay, we got plenty of battery. We're sitting good. For just a second. So if we take our time and do it right, we shouldn't have to do it a second time. So if it takes me a bit longer, it's an investment.
Boy, you're close.
So what's happening is the pliers are hitting the other
Yeah.
connector and it's not letting me. I got to bring the pliers way up. When I bring the pliers up, then it starts swiveling left and right on me, which makes it hard to get it aligned. Just got to get the right angle on it, I think. Hey, don't you know? Oh yeah.
It's all of them?
Oh yeah. It's looking pretty good. Good. All right, and then finally, if you hold that for me, let me give you those needle nose back. Those are great needle nose. Pricey, but you know.
You get what you pay for. Now that ought to snap right on, right? The
Yeah, that should be
3.0.
easy.
Famous last words. Okay. Yeah, do you go around that cable or?
It's just very thick, so it's not quite as flexible.
You're just about there.
All right. Whew. Now do me a favor and pick up the train, and I'll pick up the boxcar here. So we do end up with a bit of slack, far more than we would have had, which is ideal. Turns out to be pretty much exactly, anything more would be too much. Let's set these back, get this grommet put back into place. What do you think? We're ready to turn this bad boy on?
I don't believe it.
Let me get super cocky and put the panel on.
Okay.
That's what those flush screws were for now, I realize. And the number two.
Number two.
I mean the black JS.
Yes.
You know what? I think those are thumb screws that go down here. Maybe. It's gonna look terrible. I think that indicates to the end user which panels come off, rather than putting the flush ones. I'm sure those flush ones were for the optical drive. So 2 on the bottom, and then if we come around to this side, we should have 2 more. 1 there, and we have another thumb screw.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's got to be the other side over here is where it goes. Yeah, that's how it went together. It's only been 10 years.
Okay.
I'll just kind of pinch these together while I push this forward.
We don't have that grommet sealed very nice, but
No, we spin this around.
to get it in its groove. But
I gotcha.
we forgot to put the RAM in.
Oh, yeah. Told you I was being cocky. Don't have to rub it in.
Thank you, old man 55.
Yeah. All right, JS again,
JS.
please.
See, your chat looks out for you.
So they did. Well, as soon as I would have seen it on the desk, I'd been like, whoopsie. But this is super easy to put on and take off. That's why I wasn't too worried about it. I was like, if I have to take it off. But it also might help to put that grommet in with this cover off so I can grab the other side of it. That's how I get so anxious, you know. And by the way, if you do too, you can expect to take it apart a few times. This piece should really be the last piece we put on after we verify everything's working. Whoops. Can you get that light for me?
Yeah.
Wow, look at how much tension there is on that.
Yeah. You gonna be able to squeeze that in there? Yeah.
Oh, sure. That's no big deal. As long as I don't knock my cables out that I just plugged in. I need the light, not coming at me, but yeah, more like behind me. Getting stuck on a cable, I can't see it. I think it's one of these power switch cables.
How's that? More?
So what's happening is now that we have the USB 3 cable on there, it's pushing these cables. Yeah, I hope this is going to arrive okay. If these cables come off, that's going to be a bear for the customer to deal with. There's the other reason. We want to get this cable. See how it's so important?
Yeah.
That's putting stress on that USB 3 cable.
Yeah. Tuck it under.
Yeah, if anything, it could have gone even below the power cable, the main motherboard power cable, rather than above it. Okay. And then I can put the grommet on. Oh. What do I do with the RAM? There it is. What a mess, huh?
Mr. Piece.
Can't imagine why I set this aside for 10 years and didn't
Yeah.
pick it back up.
Now I want to do the yacht. Only you can't.
How about you do it and I'll film and you
Okay.
can watch. You see the light, please?
You're not in.
That side's okay. Yeah, be glad they're not paying me by the hour for this one, huh? There we go. Now I'll get that grommet. Well, you know I'm focusing if I'm not talking. glutton for punishment. What can I say? Sure, none of the fans are going to be interfered with here. Cable tie that later.
Is that John Jack Wilson with a $50 contribution?
Did he?
For your beer tab
That's the
after
man.
you get done with this build.
I
Well,
don't think
thank
there's
you.
enough beer in the world.
Happy holiday. Blue Moon for Uncle Mitch. Delicious with an orange. That's how I roll. Get it? Train, roll. All right.
Not a Zima?
Yeah.
Remember Zima?
Yep. And while Carrie's doing that, chat, I think it's time. Oh no. It's time for the corny joke of the day. No more chicken jokes. Okay.
Wait a minute. Let you bring up the car, I'll bring up the body. And then let's slide them together. Don't want to go in the cart. So what's happening now is the slack cable is bunching in on itself.
Okay.
And it's preventing us from pushing the two cars together. But right now they're pushing against each other. So what that means, I need that driver again. As much as I want to put this panel on for looks, it looks like I really, because of this design, I'm going to need to pull the cables through by hand.
Gotcha.
So again, this is always the last piece you put on. Let's go ahead and lay these both flat. I just trying to be cocky twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't do it a third time. There we go. Thank you. See, that was part of a problem right there. See, the problem is now it won't get to the right height. Let me see that panel one more time. I guess I am going to do it a third time. Oh well, what are you going to do? I need it to be at the right height. I don't want to snap.
Gotcha. I'll hold it once it's in.
Tell you what, let's just put the two on, this one and this one. You can let it go. I'll leave the ones on the bottom off, but at least now, see, these will snap off real easy. You got to be real careful with these little. There's 3 of them.
Yep.
If they break, they'll never go together right again. And I don't know where you're going to find replacements because they got to be just that length. But we should be able to. It's together. All right, now, if you notice on the side of the power supply, because this is going to Scotland, they were concerned if it was, if the power supply was going to work on their 240 volts.
Electricity.
So you'll see it says 100 to 240 V. It automatically switches and adapts. We're on 60 hertz, they're on 50 hertz, I think. So, yeah. So we'll give it some power. And flip the switch on. And then back here, I need an Ethernet cable, an HDMI cable.
Did we do the updates on that board on build part 1? I think
so.
we did. I think we.
I think it's all activated and updated, and all the drivers, and it should be just ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
Keyboard and mouse.
You want to try one of the USBs up front here, just for?
Not yet. Not yet. Because those are USB 3s. It's kind of a
Okay.
waste for a keyboard and mouse to be on USB 3. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and take that back. Let me step around and we'll be able to give the camera person a break, who I'm told tells us we have less than 25% battery life left.
Okay.
If you saw how small the battery is in that camera, you'd be impressed we get that much life out of it. All right, now let me go ahead and switch back to camera 1, and you can turn off over there. Camera 2 is off. And what we're gonna do...
Can I tell my joke now?
Wait.
Okay.
We're at the best part.
Oh, the smoke test. Okay.
Let's go to minimize camera 1. Not minimize it. Let's put us in a corner here. Okay. On the very front of the PC is the power button.
Now?
Oh wait, they mentioned we don't have the tracks. I mean, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. There we go. Fire it up.
I got
Got a power light?
got a power light.
I feel a slight vibration. I guess that's fans that are turning. Well, let's see if I screwed it up. Oh, I saw the post screen.
You did not.
Oh. Wow, that booted fast. Wow. Holy cow.
Jeez.
Ta-da! See that? Super easy, barely an inconvenience. It only took 3 weeks.
Yeah. And you never want to do one again.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I got to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
If this, arrives with those cables, if they come loose,
Just the packing's going to be very
his
important.
nephew's going to have to hopefully have small fingers if that happens. There it is, though. What do you call a locomotive that keeps snoozing? This is coming from Bob R in the chat room.
Don't know.
A choo-choo train.
Okay.
What's your joke, Mitch?
What's my joke? Let me think. Why did the cantaloupe go to the spa?
Why did the cantaloupe go to the spa?
Because it needed to unrind.
Oh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Steve Ricker says, awesome. It's good to see it working. I'm off to my evening job broadcasting high school football. Have a safe weekend. Hey, enjoy that. And there's Larry, LRCX in the chat room. Now remember to set the BIOS to ACHI. That's for SATA. AHCI is, we're on NV. That's AHCI and SATA mode. The Windows operating system, though, we want to make sure is in, what's that mode called? Let me make the screen bigger so Mitch and I can see it here. I want to go to HDMI input. I want to go with full screen projector so Mitch and I can see it. And we'll grab this mouse and we'll go to, just type in MS Info 32 UEFI. That's the word I was trying to think. We want to make sure we're in UEFI mode. But yeah, if you're not running SATA drives, AHCI is just referring to the SATA controller, not to the NVMe controller. So that looks good. Go back now to see what I've missed in the chat room here. Let's let me go ahead and shut this down, I guess, so I can go full screen back on camera 1. Here, go here, go here, go there. That shuts that down. And then uncheck that box, check that box, and Control F. Full screen, we're back. Okay. Now, what have I missed in the chat room for the last, however long it's been, hour? There's a lot of stuff going on in there. Yeah, there it is at $50 from John. Jack Wilson, he says, for your beer tab after you get done with this build. Thank you, Jack. Channel Zero contributes 10 Australian dollars. He says, Mitch, I love today's shirt so much. I'd love to buy one that color with that logo. Do you know where I can get one? By the way, the best time to catch a train is at 1:58. In other words, 2 to 2. 2 to 2. Is that something like choo-choo? Were those concert shirts or shirts you could order off the website?
Concert shirts, some off the website, some off eBay that I would find. So that would be, if you want a legitimate, it's toto99.com, toto99.com. And there's an apparel tab, and you've got, those are some legitimate shirts that you can buy from the boys. And then I would certainly do eBay and see whether you can find some that are not official, but probably various colors like this purple. So,
Carrie John says, I hope the two PSUs are the same brand. No, they don't have to be the same brand for, is he worried about extension cables? Because that's not what we're dealing with. Extension cables are universally the same regardless of the power supply. If we were actually plugging into the back of the power supply directly, then you'd want to make sure you don't use the wrong, one manufacturer's cables may be wired out differently. But extensions are only taking what's already there and just carrying it forward further. So there is no compatibility issue to be concerned about. And I'm assuming that's where he was going with that, but he didn't really think it through. Extensions don't have any compatibility issue. It's literally taking what you already have and simply extending it.
Yeah. And you're definitely going to want this on your desk. You're not going to want to set this on the floor. This belongs on the desk next to your monitor, where people are like, where's your computer? Right here.
Michael says, Mitch, I did my first computer refurb this year, an i7 9700K system that he just gave away. That's a nice giveaway.
Whew.
Like the giveaways we're going to be doing are going to be from 2015, the original builds from 2015 that this business is retiring.
And those are i7s? Those are nice.
Those are 4th gen i7s.
Okay.
So 4790K.
Okay.
And I have the stock cooler on them, and they run perfectly quiet. Because I was ready to change those coolers to Mugens, but then I'm like, these stock Intel coolers, even on the i7 4790K, whisper quiet.
There you go.
But it was the generations after that where those coolers, they got really loud. So putting on the Mugen 5 quiets those down. So anyway, I ended up buying a couple of Mugen 5 silver ones just for the giveaways, but I'm not going to use them for those. I'll go on my shelf for something that'll come up in the future. I'll use them eventually. Niall says, I think the Canon's the best camera. The Sony was the worst, and the Panasonic is flat and lacks depth. Yeah, well, it's always interesting to get the feedback. Yep. I think the Sony image is fantastic. I think the Panasonic image, given that we haven't really done any adjustment other than white balance, there's a lot of other settings where we can refine the colors, but the Panasonic is the oldest of the cameras. Let's see. Just trying to catch up in the chat room. If you guys have any questions for me, we're going to wrap this up here probably in the next 20 minutes. We usually stop around 4 o'clock, which is 45 minutes. But if we're not going to get any dialogue or questions from you guys, then we're not going to drag it out to 4 just to drag it out to 4. What I'm going to do now is make sure there's any updates to drivers or anything like that. I'm going to cable tie the cables as this is connected. I'll take that side back off.
Okay.
And all we're really doing is cable tying to keep cables from interweaving with each other or from potentially interfering with the cooling fan for the CPU. And then it goes back in the original box. I still have the original case box.
Okay.
And then that box is going to go into a larger box surrounded by what they call RAM pack, or it's like a brown paper material to cushion it, so a box within a box, and then that'll get shipped out to Scotland. I think that's pretty much all that remains. So, it wasn't that bad. It was just, I tend to be a little impatient. It's very routine. It's just the way that you have to get at it is, you gotta come at it from using either different tools or different angles, or like I said, I could have taken the top off, but I really didn't want to. These are like Allen head screws up here and here, and then this whole front comes off. Well, not the whole front, but this circle right here at the end has a couple screws, and we could, if we had to replace the power switch. "3D Everything" with a super chat contribution of $20 says, "Have a great Labor Day weekend." Well, thank you. You too.
I'm thinking about tomorrow or Sunday, maybe getting up, not at sunrise, but maybe getting on the road by 6:30. Not that it'll be all that cool, but I'd like to take a little motorcycle run out to Bartlett Lake, although it might be mobbed because it is a long weekend. So if I was smart, I'd wait till Tuesday when everyone's back at work, and then there'll be nobody on that road. So may do that.
So we have we're right at the end of the heat. We have to. So we're through August, which is the worst of it.
Yep.
But it really doesn't cool down till mid-October. But at least the humidity part of it, still a little tail there. It doesn't exactly, Mother Nature doesn't follow our calendar, but certainly by the time I'm getting ready to leave on vacation, weather typically starts to cool here.
Last night you should have seen the lightning show.
Oh, yeah?
Out there. I was on my way to the bar to have a glass of milk, and about 9 o'clock.
Glass of milk at the bar. It was a milk bar.
Yeah, and Clockwork Orange, and it just was boom, boom, popping, and quite a show last night. I'm like, ooh, glad I'm in a car with 4 rubber tires.
For sure.
Yeah. Mitch, what kind of motorcycle do you have? It's a 2014 Suzuki MR109 Boulevard that's been kind of specced out.
There's Peter. Sorry, Peter Laycock was just saying it was just a little bit fiddly. It's a good word for it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you've got a MR109.
And Suzuki MR109. It's called the Bumblebee because it's black and yellow. The tank's
and it's the
yellow,
Boulevard.
And it's the Boulevard. And the owner who sold it to me kind of spec'd it out very nice with different air cleaners and whatever. So yeah, I like it. But next year it's going.
Next year, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, so then I can say that I've ridden for 2 years, and you got to kind of know when to say when, and I'll sell it back to the guy because he's been doing all the maintenance on it because he loves it, and so maybe November of next year, something like that. So I can say that I had a motorcycle for 2 years, had a wonderful time, a couple of rides down the Pacific Coast Highway, a few rides up to Vegas, but they're dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. And I'm not worried about me driving. I'm the people around me driving.
Yeah, well, that's the problem
Yeah.
because you don't have much protection.
Yeah, so.
Let's make sure it sees all the RAM we put in there. We'll go over here to Properties. Verify the specs. We got 32 gigs of RAM. 31.7 is available because the onboard integrated graphics are sharing our system RAM.
Okay.
And we've got the 12th gen Intel Core i5 12600K. That's going to run with that cooler. Should be just fine. There shouldn't be any overheating, even if they push it hard.
Yep.
We could certainly put Prime 95 on it, and let's do that just to see. Did I copy Prime 95? I did. There's Prime 95, and where's my hardware info? Hardware monitor. Let's bring up that. Yes. Close that one. So, current speeds, and where's our temps? Whew. A lot of things reporting temperature back there. All right, let's go ahead and run Prime 95. With those defaults on Prime 95 26.6. And we'll start the timer. We'll stopwatch, not a timer.
Run it for a bit.
Luke Greenia said he set a little something this way.
Did your phone say it's 104 out there? Or was I?
$20 from Luke Greenia.
Hey.
And it was 104, but that was an hour ago. It's 105 now.
Jeez.
And we've got humidity on top of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, probably this whole next 7 days is going to be
At least no more rain.
well over 100 anyway.
Yeah.
You think we're done with the rain? I don't think we're done with the rain yet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Luke, as always, for your continued support. Starshine wants to know, Carrie, will you ever do some smart home videos? I'd be very interested in seeing a pro do smart home stuff. Well, I'm not a fan mostly of the smart home stuff. I've talked about this before, and my concern is that we're adding remote control to things like a thermostat, which how hard is it to change a thermostat, right? So unless you've got a property where you're not there, I don't understand the point of it. I have a washing machine that's got Wi-Fi. It pretty much just tells you this is how many of these cycles you did this month. It's time to do a tub clean. That's pretty much all the Wi-Fi. It's a waste of time. If you have any sort of cameras for security, those are always great to have, but I wouldn't consider that to be smart home. Or to have, I like these CASA, K-A-S-A, remote switches and outlets. So I like to be able to plug a lamp in, and they even have smart light bulbs. So I put a smart light bulb on the porch light, and I put it on a schedule so the porch light goes on and goes off, so nobody can really tell if I'm here or not.
Does the Casa have voice activation, so I can walk in a room and go, Casa, turn on bedroom lamp?
It might be
it turns on
Alexa, but I don't.
Oh, through Alexa.
I don't
Yeah,
use any of that.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't like that. Me personally, I don't like that this thing's always listening or whatever. So the smart home stuff, if you have a need for it, it's well and good. But if you're just doing it because, just wait till your internet goes out, and you're gonna realize. Like I have these little decorative lights that shine against the wall in the bedroom, and the internet went out, and I wanted to go to bed, and these lights glow red. It's a nice effect in a dark house, but when I go to bed, I want the lights out. Normally the lights are on a schedule; they come on and go off. But when the internet is out, they're just on. So I unplugged them from the wall to turn them off, but they have batteries I forgot about. So now they're still, I'm like, what do? I ended up just picking them up and putting them into another room. And then, because the internet was out for hours. Then I realized there was in fact a power switch I just didn't see it. I have a light that's plugged into an outlet. I can turn that light on and off remotely, or set it on a schedule so it comes on and goes off. So again, it looks like somebody is here. Like I say, Casa's got a light bulb that's got the Wi-Fi in the light bulb, LED bulb. You just screw that into your porch light, and then you pair it with the Casa app, and then you can schedule it. So the problem is when your internet goes down, and it's gone down this year at least a half dozen times. Sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for upwards of 12 to 16 hours. I think it's the longest it's gone out. And so once you've gone accustomed to having everything controlled on the app, it's sort of like, how do I, like in this case, I want to go to bed, I want that light off. And it was like 15 minutes of me messing about, trying to figure out how to just turn the light off. So I'm not a big fan of most of the smart home stuff. Refrigerators that have Wi-Fi, I don't understand. Dishwashers that have Wi-Fi, I don't understand. Barbecue grills have Wi-Fi, I don't understand.
And that's why I still use the clapper. Clap, clap.
My dad had a clapper when I was growing up. Change the channel.
Yeah.
Carrie,
Yeah.
turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Turn it up.
Yeah, you were his remote
I was
control.
the
Yeah. Hold the rabbit ears. Perfect. Stay right there while I watch my show.
So anyway, if I had a very large house and I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to trudge across my 10,000 square foot house to check and see if I got a light on, or to have the garage door opener be able to report its current status, I might think, did I close the garage door when I left? Am I going to turn around and check it? So to have that connected to the internet is great. Also, if I wanted to give someone access to the house and I wasn't here, I could be in Michigan. I could, for example, open the garage door for somebody and with the camera see them, right? And then when they're gone, I can then close the garage door because they can't because of the laser thing that, you know, you'd have to jump over it. As the garage door is coming down, you're going to jump up. Yeah, good luck. Anyway, so I'm not against smart home stuff, but I use it very sparingly and only where absolutely necessary. It's had some side effects that I knew there was going to be some side effects, but until I experienced them, because I was tired and wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I really just thought I'll just unplug the light.
And my only thing is I do have a Nest, and I like it because I travel a lot and I can turn it off and on my way home tonight after the show.
Yeah, you can start cool the house down.
I start cool the house down.
The Nest is okay.
So it's yeah. I think it can save you, but if you're a homebody, you're there. So I wouldn't necessarily get one because, like you said, when the internet goes down, it gets twitchy.
My problem with the Nest is it starts by default figuring out your schedule.
Right.
And then your AC turns off. And why is my...
Yeah, because it thinks you're away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not away, I'm
Eventually,
home.
I figured out that you can go into the menuing system and disable that.
The away.
But it wasn't obvious to me. And then going through the actual Nest device and all the submenus, and I'm like, you know, Studio A has a regular thermostat, hot or cold, temp up or down. What's so hard about that? But again, if I had another location and I wanted to keep an eye on it, I wanted to pre-chill it or preheat it, but most of the time I'm not there. It's not a live or die thing. It's a minor little convenience.
Yeah.
And the garage door thing is a lifesaver.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I've gone to bed and forgotten to close the garage door, so I've got it programmed to always close the garage door at night.
Okay.
Unless it's already closed.
Yeah.
And it'll tell me when I check my phone. Because I usually put my phone on Do Not Disturb again, so I can sleep. I can see events that took place. So if people were coming and going, I could see every time the garage door was open and closed, what time and for how long. If the garage door was left open, it'll, on a schedule, automatically close it at a certain time, 7 days a week. So again, where home automation and smart homes make sense, I'm all for it, but I'm not one of those people that wants to do smart home everything, because it's gotta really serve a purpose. And it's too inconvenient when the internet goes down or there's a Wi-Fi issue, the router goes down. You know, we had a call earlier, it was about 2 weeks ago, with a network issue that was flaky. It was kind of working and kind of not working. And after about 3 days, I was like, oh, you know what? Let me go over there and take a look at it. And I forgot they have one of those little switches that plugs into another switch. And I just simply unplugged that little switch. That's not obvious because it's not with the rest of the networking equipment. Leave it off for a minute, plugged it back in. That weird problem went away.
Yeah.
It happens. There's also things like the ability to cut the power to something and restart it, for example, like a server, and I don't want to drive all the way to a client's, but like a watt box. But those watt boxes, when they go bad, they start rebooting things randomly, which is the whole point why you bought it. It's like a UPS. UPS, after about 4 or 5 years, the internal battery goes bad and it'll start creating all kinds of weird power fluctuation problems. It's pretty common. That'll cause a computer to restart. Customer loses their work. They were in the middle of something. Turns out it's the UPS. And the UPS is doing the very thing you bought it to prevent, and which is why we always date label the UPSs. And I tell my customers, in I say 3 to 4 years,
we're going to have to replace those batteries.
Once we see the 3-year mark, we should start thinking about either replacing the battery. I don't normally recommend replacing the battery. Just buy a whole new unit. They typically can give you more battery life and be lighter weight. And then you have to deal with recycling the battery. And if you buy some, you know, what are they going to do? They're going to go on Amazon and find the cheapest battery they can. And then, you know, that battery's probably not even going to have a 4-year life. So, all right, how we doing there on time? We've been running just about 10 minutes, and what are our temps? I can't even see them. I don't know what this one is, but this one right here is running hot. Ooh, it's running really hot. Put your hand on there. Holy cow. Yeah, that is really hot.
Is a fan? Is that intake? No, that's exhaust, right? The fan, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be exhausting.
Yeah.
The intake fan would be
Yeah.
here. It's nice and cool in there,
Okay.
but this is really quite worrisome.
No.
But I mean, no, it's not intended to be run
Like
this hard
and
for this
yeah.
long, but I was just
Yeah.
kind of curious.
Little cable management will help too.
Yeah,
You
we are throttling.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is throttling.
Yeah. I'd shut her down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, it's not designed for this kind of a workload. And you know, I don't want to shut down the computer, I want to shut down the test, but let the computer run so the fans can cool it.
Yeah.
You'll see that temperature is going to drop real quick once I
Right
click OK.
now. It went from 100 to 71. You know.
That's going to drop
And now
probably
it's like-
down into into the 30s. But we'll let that run a little bit. Did you feel that?
Yeah.
Michael Dane says he's getting ready to give a refurbished Dell laptop, 5400 2-in-1, Intel 10th gen with 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of NVMe storage. It was given to him by a college student to give it to someone who needs it. Right on. So they found the right person to give it to. Peter Laycock says, to all our American friends, have a great Labor Day and best wishes from Scotland. Thank you, Peter.
Peter, camera girl says hi.
Camera girl says, hi, Peter.
I'm jealous, Peter. Very unique build.
I thought it would cool better than that.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was a 12900K.
It's whisper quiet, but of
Yeah,
course
and it didn't blue screen or
it's-
crash. It did what
right,
it's supposed to
something
do,
to
which
do.
was throttle down some cores.
Yeah.
But I was expecting that Noctua cooler to perform better than it's performing. You know what? They mentioned that little rubber piece that was on the CPU latch isn't supposed to be left on. And it's possible that that CPU cooler isn't sitting completely flush. So I will open this back up, and it shouldn't be that difficult to... and I have to get behind I have to get behind the motherboard. I'll do that off camera, but I'm going to take that little rubber piece off and see if that improves the cooling.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, and somebody quoted the manual that says to remove. I don't even know why it's there, quite frankly, but it's possible that cooler will perform better. It's possible that little rubber piece over the CPU latch is preventing the cooler from sitting completely flush. So I will double check that before I ship it thousands of miles. Even if it means I have to completely remove all those cables, it's not a big deal. Greg Lathy says, stuff a 120 millimeter all-in-one in there. I suppose you probably could if you use this back fan as, well, no, you know, the thickness of the radiator wouldn't even do that. Trevor says, sorry, Kerry, the NVMe drive needs to be set to ACHI in the BIOS. There is no such thing as setting NVMe to AHCI, so I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about. The Samsung driver, if you're referring to the driver, is an NVMe driver. It's not an AHCI driver. AHCI is strictly related to the SATA interface, but you may have some weird motherboard, or you may have a misinterpretation of the driver compatibility. But regardless of that, do what you want. I don't do that in my systems. You see all my systems running. I mean, I've only been doing it for over 3 decades, so what do I know? Ron, my friend Ron says a leaky water cooler in there would make it a steam engine. So it.
Yeah.
Dan's joining us. Sorry for being late. It's all good. We're glad you joined us. We're right here at the tail end of today's video, and of course it'll be available to watch after we're done and YouTube processes. It takes about 3 to 10 hours mostly for YouTube to process the video. If you try and play this video back before that, don't expect to see the chat room and don't expect to see the full resolution. Sometimes we'll see comments from people saying, how come I'm not getting the chat room replay? How come 1080 is not being on? Because you're watching it too soon after it aired. And YouTube gets busier sometimes than others, and then the video length. So there's no one set amount of time it takes YouTube to process a video. It's always a safe bet to give it 24 hours if you want to make sure the video's been processed. But it normally only takes, for my videos, under 10 hours in most cases. Apparently Dan has a birthday. Hey, happy birthday to Dan.
Hey.
Starshine said that's going to look cool with Christmas lights on it. Oh my gosh, it's nearly Christmas again. Yeah.
Polar Express.
Was it Michael Dane last stream? Something like only 147 more days to go till Christmas. What did he say? 147 more shopping days left. How's that feel? Is it cooler?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What did our temp drop to now? Let me make that big again. Screen. Projector. No, we're at 40 degrees Celsius, yeah. So. But you'll notice it never went over 100 because 100 is the magic temperature where cores start to power off.
Okay.
And if it were to continue to climb, it would eventually just absolutely shut the machine off or blue screen. But I can't anticipate anybody using this computer that hard. Like that's significantly severe use. Now I'll turn this on, just get rid of these little dialogues.
Question marks.
Dismiss that one. There we go. We can check and see if there's any other Windows updates. View optional updates. Oh, it's offering Windows 11 as an option. We can go here and just say stay on Windows 10 for now, and that'll leave you alone for a while.
And there's no way to get rid of your PC can run Windows 11 on the right. There's no way. That's always going to be on there. There's no way to kind of get rid of that. I'm just curious because it kind of bugs me. But
there's a couple ways to get rid of the Windows 11 by changing a registry key or the group policy editor in Windows 10 Pro. But you can also just do what I just did, and
okay,
it won't bother you for a little while. That is not moving down for some reason. Not responding to anything I'm doing right now because it's busy doing that. And on top of that, I got another yellow exclamation point on the security thing that I just cleared out.
Okay.
So every few weeks, it's going to remind you. Have you changed your mind about Windows 11 yet? You just click that little thing, and it goes away. And in fact, if you just leave it on automatic updates, you don't have to go to Windows Update. I just do that because that's what I do. But if you just leave it alone, it'll auto-update in the background as needed, and you won't ever see that.
Right.
Unless it pops up at some point, and then you can just click the box and say, don't remind me of this.
Yep.
It'll still remind you from time to time because they are trying to twist your arm a bit. It's all marketing. See what else we got on here. Andy wants to know, would it be better to take off the case fan to connect the cables to the motherboard and then reconnect the fan? You know, there's no way to define what's better, right? We all do things, what's easier for you. If I was somebody who had less dexterity or larger fingers that would make it difficult, that might make that easier. I think you know, I did it the way I wanted to. Was that the best way? Well, it was the best way for me. But that doesn't mean it's the best way for you. How we, you know, the beauty of this building your PC is your own self-expression and the fact that you can put things together typically in an order you want to. You don't have to necessarily follow any specific order unless you have case restrictions and such that, you know, when you look back on it on hindsight, you'd say, well, maybe I should have done this before I did that. But, you know, I think the problem of the mindset that there's only one way to do it, there's only one proper way, or there's only one efficient way. If you're being measured on time and I'm upset with your productivity and I'm going to write you up for it and potentially fire you if you keep falling behind in your work, then I understand your concern. But if we're doing this for fun, we're not trying to win a contest in how fast we can get it done. For me personally, because I build so many computers, I don't want to have to take it apart because it'll be easier. To me, that's more complicated. Now I'm having to put more things together. So if I have to go a little slower to put the cables on because of restrictions, I want to try it that way. And if I get frustrated and I give up, and I say, well, okay, now I have no choice. I have to take these things off. That's just the way I work. But if I was building one computer every 4 years, I might take every panel apart just because it'd be so fun. But again, which number did I say this computer was on this bench this week?
15, 14.
It's like 11. I've had 11 computers on this bench the last 6 days. I'm working at a very fast pace, and those are all regular mid-tower, mostly 200 Rs, right? And so I can get in and get out really quick. You can't really get in and out of this one quick, nor should you want to. So if you find yourself in that situation, you have to judge for yourself, because at the end of the day, all that matters is that you don't break it, that hopefully you've enjoyed it, and that you get to the end result. That we both, for example, if I say I'm going to meet you at the store, and we both are going to leave from my house, you're going to get in your car, I'm going to get in my car, we can take two totally different routes. Your route may be superior to you because you made no left turns. But to do that, you went a little out of your way. My route maybe gets me there quicker, but I was stuck at a light. Depending on the length of the light and my timing, like maybe I get there right when it turns red, you could get there before me. Your route may be safer because you're making only right turns, but my route may be faster and more efficient, less gas usage. There's no right or wrong to that. As long as you meet me there around the time that we agreed to meet there, how you get there is your choice. You know, you want to walk, take a bicycle, take a completely different route. I wouldn't say there's a right or a wrong. So when you find yourself in that situation, decide what's best for you. What you shouldn't do is decide what's best for somebody else. Maybe make a recommendation. I'd recommend this route, but I wouldn't suggest any other route would be wrong.
It is interesting that we didn't have the little silver build that we built for me with the handle was about kind of almost about this size, and I don't remember us struggling much. The motherboard went in, the power supply, and that's
because it's longer.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's not that short.
Short, yeah.
So because of the case walls being so close to every side of that motherboard, and then combined with the length of the cable, we have to go from the one part to the other part. Just add it. Oh, and then that fan being right there. Yeah. But again, that's also due to how narrow.
So did you use an extension both for the motherboard and the CPU? So we need,
I did.
So we need two cables for
They sell them in pairs.
Okay, for the home theater build.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I have to go back at my Amazon purchase history. I just
Yeah.
look at it and I'll just order the same things again. David Martinez says, Carrie, I built an 11th gen processor. Memory is 36, computer working good. I ran memtest 86. Errors come out the test. What could be the problem, in my opinion? I don't know what 36 is. There's no way you can have 36 gigs of RAM. You could have 32. But if you have a bad RAM module, Memory errors are not repairable. So what you would do is shut the computer off, remove one of the sticks of RAM, or if you've got 4 sticks of RAM, remove 3 sticks. So you just want to have 1 left. Then run memtest on it. If you're still getting reported errors from memtest, turn it back off, take that 1 RAM module out and set it aside as a potentially bad module, and then put your next RAM module in. Run it, start it back up, run memtest. I've got a whole video that walks you through this whole process. I advise you to watch it. Just type in Carrie Holzman space memtest 86, and it's just a process of elimination. It takes some time. If one memory module is bad, then you need to send back. If you bought the memory module in pairs, you have to send them back in pairs. Even if one is fine, they are paired together and tested together. So if you bought 2 and you need to send it back, you have to send back what you bought. So if you bought 2, you send back 2. Then they'll send you another matched pair under warranty. Most RAM has a lifetime warranty, assuming they still make the RAM. So if you had DDR3, they don't make it anymore, so your lifetime warranty is over. However, you cannot repair RAM. So all you're going to do is swap out your RAM sticks, running memtest individually on each one. If the minute you see 1 error appears, you don't need to continue memtest any further. That is a bad stick of RAM. Whether or not it's under warranty and you can replace it, I don't know, but you cannot repair it if it's the memory socket of the motherboard. So that no matter what module you put in, they all fail with memtest, try a different socket. And if they start passing, you've got a bad socket. Maybe you want to RMA the motherboard. If the motherboard's not under warranty, it's probably time to upgrade.
Really, of the 5 or 6 that I've built myself over the years, I've only had 1 bad stick go bad.
Oh,
yeah, I know you have, but of my 5 or 6 builds, really only 1 bad stick, and I'm like, that's pretty good. So it lasts.
Michael Dane, there he is. 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days before December 25th, 2022.
The man.
Get your shopping in now.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I couldn't find a PlayStation 5. Even if I gave a kidney. Now they're so rare. I mean, I don't even think I can get in a lotto to put my name in case they draw it and then you get 3 days to buy it. Otherwise, you lose it. But I'm like, yeah, no PlayStation 5 for Mitchie. Have to keep going on that Xbox One.
I don't know what this thing is doing, but it's doing. Oh, there. I guess it's updating and it's taking a lot of resources up. Wants to restart. All right, let's go ahead and restart that and let's see what else we have in the chat. If there's any other questions. Bike Man wants to know, why would an 8 terabyte drive slow down in an external enclosure? Is it an 8 terabyte solid state drive? It's probably overheating. Those external enclosures generally don't have any fans. If it's got to be a solid state drive. There wouldn't be an 8 terabyte mechanical. It's probably overheating. Walmart was busted selling an 8 terabyte SSD that was 2 SD cards in a trench coat enclosure. Yeah, well, it's a third-party seller, probably not Walmart directly. If you go to Walmart online, they have third-party sellers, just like Amazon anyway. Sadly, mine is a Seagate 8 terabyte drive. No choice on model, though. It was won in Twitter channel contest in 2019, strictly used for system backups. Well, if it works at all, and you've had it since then, and you got it for free, I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Patrick Russo says he's still using his Atari 2600.
There you go. Donkey Kong. All right. Mario Brothers. I think we ought to be up to date on the
I think
updates,
there was some driver update. It was offering few optional driver updates. Oh, look, it says there's a firmware. Let's see what this does. Is this a BIOS?
No way.
Could be.
Okay. That was quick.
Well, yeah, it didn't seem to do much, did it? It's not a BIOS. Looks like I need to put the Intel driver updater on here too.
Okay.
Let's reboot it one more time.
Peter Laycock, Mitch, I just
Did we
bought
do a crystal disk test? We could do crystal disk, Mark.
I just bought a PlayStation 5 for a present. Oh, lucky person.
Yeah, well, he might have more access to it in Scotland.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, it's, you know. You can order it with the DVD or the Blu-ray drive with a 4K in there. So eventually, I guess if I upgrade my rear projector to 4K, which I don't know because the TV, so it looks a little fake to me. I'm very happy with 1080p in the screening room, so looks very film-like.
Yeah, it's fast. It's almost 7,000 megabytes per second on that. Yeah. What do we put in there? It's a Gen 4, right?
Yeah.
Forgot what I put in it already. It's in the parts list below the video. Was that a Samsung 980 I put in?
2 terabyte, yeah.
Oh, no, I wanted to get Peter the best where it wasn't going to, you know, potentially have heat problems or reliability issues. So this is a great configuration.
And was that DDR5 that RAM that you put in there, or was that DDR4? That was
DDR5.
5, yeah. Man.
Yeah, Johnny Weld says it's a 980. So it's probably a 980 Pro, I would guess. We got to take care of Peter. Peter's done so much for the channel. I've always wanted to do something significant in return, and he's like, I don't want to. Just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, please let me feel like a mooch. Let me show you my appreciation. So when he asked me about the Train PC, I'm like,
look what he's getting. Beautiful.
And there's these little tabs that I think go on the ends that prevent the train from rolling off.
So you got them, don't you?
I don't know. If I don't have them here, they're at Studio A.
Okay. Yeah, they're saying 980 Pro, 2 terabyte. Yep.
So that's Gen 4.
Oh.
Let's see. Let that test run, and we'll wrap it up here at the end. So thank you once again for everybody who's contributed, and also for everybody participating. And
everybody have a safe and wonderful holiday weekend.
Yes.
If you can't be safe, be careful.
Thanks again to 3D Everything, Channel Zero, John Jack Wilson, Bob R., Josiah Guernsey, Alvin Shaver, Planet Cryos, Frankie B., Roy Starman, Peter Laycock, of course, and to Luke Greenio and Mitchell Gantos for the contributions. And
nice to see the man, Michael Dane, in the
it's
chat
always
today.
I was just want to check the inbox one more time, see if anything else came in. Oh, Kelly Stewart, of course. Thank you to Kelly Stewart for the Amazon gift card. Yeah, almost done with our test. We'll have our test numbers up. Like I said, I'm going to take the little rubber sleeve off of the CPU handle. Whatever I got to do to take it apart to get to it, it doesn't matter. I'll do that off camera. Once that's done and I cable it back up, I'll use some zip ties just to clean up the cabling a little. There's nowhere to hide it, but you can't see it anyway. But I just want to make sure the cables don't bounce around and travel and get caught up in anything. Starshine says, thanks, Gary and Mitch. Bye, everyone. Happy early birthday to John Jack Wilson. Craig Casabona with a $20 super chat contribution says, hey, nice to see Mitch back and seeing you guys live. Thanks. Well, thanks for joining us, Craig. All my friends in the chat room. And of course, the viewers who are watching it after the fact, I hope that you'll consider becoming a part of our amazing community. You just have one rule: you're not allowed to be a jerk. Don't care about your age, your gender. We don't care how smart you are. We don't care how dumb you are either. We don't care how cool you are. Just care if you're nice.
Do your thumbs up button again.
Yeah, if you like this content, you want to see more like it. Yes, Peter's going to get more computer. All you have to do is hit the thumbs up button, which is underneath the video. I have a. Where's my? There it is. There's the thumbs up button right over Mitch's face. And if you haven't, be sure and hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on by clicking the bell, so you can be alerted anytime new content is posted. I always go live Friday at 1 o'clock. It's actually Mountain Standard Time, which is just the same as Pacific Time right now, and Pacific Time is more well known. And throughout the week, I broadcast as time permits. These last 2-3 weeks have been tough. So much going on. But I'll try and get at least 2, if not 3 videos done next week. And I just don't know when or what day or what time, other than for sure Friday at 1 o'clock. All right, so if you subscribe, you don't have to guess or ask. You just subscribe, turn the notifications on, and make sure you go into your YouTube settings to define how you want to be notified. That's several steps involved in getting those notifications. So thanks you guys again for everything. There's our final numbers on display. Super fast drive.
Yep.
But again, Gen 5, this time next year we'll be definitely using some Gen 5s, probably sooner than that. Thanks to Camera Girl, as always. Put her to work, really put her to work today.
Great close-ups, yep.
You're welcome.
And let me go full screen back on camera 1. Let's turn off camera. Let's turn off the input there. Now we're back on this Panasonic camera. I'll play with it some more. You know, this was just out of the gate, just, yeah, something to do. The audio sounds better on it, I think, than the Canon for some reason. But it's probably all me, right? There's so much little settings.
Fidgeting you could do.
Well, the more expensive these cameras get, the more control you have. And since it's been a long time since I've gotten into that depth of photography, and certainly never got to this depth in cinematography, I have a lot to learn. But I was just curious, just out of the box, just setting some basic settings, how the Panasonic would do, and to see what people's thoughts were about that. Still have another camera. Again, I have a different Sony to test, and I still have to fine tune the Canon. You know, I'm not giving up on it. I just wanted to do something different. And since this was from eBay, I needed to test it.
Yeah.
But it's whoever owned this camera really took care of it. And I just don't know if there's a preference to a lens, like if Zeiss is better than Leica for the work that I'm doing.
Right.
For the most part, these cameras are overkill for live streaming regardless, but I'm going to be using them for more than live streaming. And primarily my main concern is, or my main priority is to re-educate myself on all those little things I've forgotten over the years about the settings like aperture and f-stop and all that. It's all coming back to me, and then introducing me with things like what the knee slope is. I don't know what knee slope is. And gamma levels, I don't know. And zebra patterns. So I'm looking forward to learning that. Just not in a hurry to learn it, and just wanting to have a baseline of knowing what kind of image quality I can expect out of the box from manufacturer to manufacturer. So far out of the box, Sony has been, I think, the best one, just with the least amount of knowledge required to get a good picture out of it. But every one of these cameras is capable of producing pretty much the same image quality. It's just, I want you to remember, that's on me to figure it out. So again, thanks to our good friend Peter Laycock for everything. And Johnny Welch said, wings and pizza sound good. I don't know what we're going to do for dinner today. Vital Vision says, thanks, Carrie and Mitch. By chat, by Peter. Love the new Flying Scotsman. Are chicken wings on the menu tonight? I don't know. Matthew Burden says, great stream as always. Have a great holiday weekend. All right. Do you want to say goodbye?
Let's get out of here.
So again, thanks to Camera Girl with her amazing Camera Girl superpowers.
Close-ups.
Hi, everybody. My pleasure. Happy to help. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This case is super cool. I like it a lot. Peter, you're going to love it. Hopefully your nephew loves it. It's awesome. I love it. It's great in person. Does nothing on camera, but in person it's great. You'll love it.
Great machine.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Those of us here in the United States, have a great holiday. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until then,
Bye for now.
I haven't found an outro yet.
Oh, okay. Try to look humble.
Bye.
All right.
Got to slow down. Bye for
Bye for now. It is time for a blue moon. Okay.
It definitely
it
is.
is. Yeah.
Trying to figure out a way I can be clever.
Don't hurt yourself. All right.
It's too late. See you next time.
Bye.